Where does he come from? Santa Claus. It's not Greenland. What's it called?
No.
It's called something else.
It's got land in it.
It's called. Hang on. Greenland is a Greenland.
Yeah.
Is the Greenland.
Yeah.
And when the children go on this magical trip to Santa, it's not Rudolph Land, is it?
Stimulating late-night sports conversation for people who know that just trying to find someone sober to talk to at this time of night is like trying to find a pig on the moon.
In the early morning mist I see.
No rules news debate from around the world and around the bend. The two mics
Fly more lager.
on Talk Sport.
Yeah.
Good morning, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry, you're listening to the Two Mikes Bank Holiday Special. The biggest game of the year gets underway this afternoon, and by the end of it, the Premier League might well have lost another manager. Louis van Gaal seems to have run out of road, run out of ideas, run out of support, and run out of luck. How did it ever come to this at one of the greatest football clubs in the world? 08717 223344. We'll keep you updated on the cricket, we'll tell you what we got up to at Christmas, and of course it's another edition of Winners and Losers, a place of ritual humiliation for the Porkmeister. You'll have a chance to vote for our nominations a little bit later. You're listening to the Two Mikes with me, Mike Graham, and Mike Parry on Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport, and I'm delighted to say it's time to say a very good morning, and rather than at 1 o'clock in the morning, at 10 o'clock in the morning, to Mr. Mike Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
Good morning, Mike, and good to see you in the studio this morning. I hope you had a good Christmas and all that.
Actually, yeah.
I wish you'd raised an issue which I've talked to you about extensively over the weekend, and that is why Everton are playing today.
I don't want to talk about Everton.
And Liverpool are not playing for another 2 days.
I don't want to talk
That's
about
what
that.
I'd like to know.
Well, we can talk about that later on.
They get 2 days more
rest. Are you
rest,
saying they're going to be better rested?
They get 2 days more
well,
rest.
Maybe it's because they're only playing Sunderland.
Maybe
they don't need any rest.
That's a bit harsh to the
Why?
Sunderland fans,
well, they're
isn't
only
it?
playing Sunderland.
Listen, you just said that we may today...
By the way, can I just make one correction as well? On your way into work this morning, you tweeted out that you were hoping to celebrate a very happy Boxing Day for everybody.
Yes.
Okay, it's not Boxing Day.
It is officially
Boxing Day
Day
was Saturday.
No.
Today is Bank Holiday Monday.
Yeah, Boxing
It is
Day.
not Boxing Day.
Why have you got a bank holiday today?
Because Bank Holiday from Saturday carries over.
No,
Because
exactly.
Boxing Day was on Saturday.
Exactly. So it's Boxing Day
no,
today.
the day after Christmas Day is Boxing Day.
No.
Today is not Boxing Day.
Well, why are people having a bank holiday today?
Because when you get a holiday that would normally fall during the week and it falls on a weekend, then you carry it over onto the Monday.
What is the purpose of today's bank holiday status?
Let me put it to you this way. If Saturday had been Christmas Day, would you be calling today Christmas Day?
No.
No, exactly.
Yes, but you know why?
I rest my case.
No, Christmas Day is unique. Christmas Day is a once-in-a-year occasion, a bank holiday.
And Boxing Day isn't?
Boxing Day is. But Boxing Day
So it's the
is...
same?
No, in the Christian calendar, Boxing Day is inferior to Christmas Day.
I gave you an Everton calendar, not a Christian calendar.
In the status of days of importance, Christmas Day is right up at the top.
You got it wrong.
No, I didn't get it wrong.
Just like you got it wrong with Raheem Sterling, who
listen.
you said would not score 5 goals this season for Manchester City.
We shouldn't be talking about any of this nonsense at all, because what you said, you half said, really. You didn't actually get the point of the story. And the point of the story is that quite realistically and quite honestly, this could be the last day of the career of Louis van Gaal.
It might well be, in fact, and that's why you need to listen to this.
Louis van Gaal.
Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
The club has to fire or sack me. Sometimes I do it by myself. Philosophy is how you play football and how you maintain your match rhythm. When you are not willing to follow that principles of the philosophy, then there's only one way, and that is out.
Louis van Gaal.
We can still be the champion at the end. We are not first now, because when you win, you are first in the Premier League, and that is our goal. Believe in a manager is very important. And when you lose the games you play, then the belief in a manager shall decrease. So that's happening now.
Louis van Gaal.
What a strange, eccentric and odd character Louis van Gaal is.
Yeah, I
Wouldn't
think
you say
he is.
that?
I think he is. I think he is.
And he's the most eccentric manager that's ever inhabited the Premier League.
Well, I think he's been driven to it. I don't think he was that eccentric when he got here, but
Right.
I honestly believe that he has become so depressed and so self-consumed about his failure to lift Manchester United to the heights
He's run out of
required.
ideas. He's admitted that.
Not only has he run out of ideas, but I mean, all sorts of people who know about these things. I'm talking about journalists who spend a lot of time close to Manchester United.
What, you mean these journalists that he doesn't regard as proper people?
Absolutely, who he thinks don't understand the game.
Yeah.
And some ex-Manchester United footballers, legendary ones.
Loads of them.
Like Lou Macari.
Yeah.
I know Lou
Rio
very well.
Ferdinand has been critical.
Yeah, but I know Lou very well. But what I'm saying is, Mike...
What do you mean you know him very well?
I know Lou very well.
When was the last time you spoke to him?
You want the date? You
Well,
want
I
the
mean,
date, the time?
a rough year would be good.
I can't get into that. Can you just listen to what I'm trying to say?
Recently?
Can you listen what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, go on.
Lou Macari is one of those who are saying, even if Manchester United beat Chelsea today, a game at Old Trafford, he wouldn't be surprised if Louis van Gaal is still not the Manchester United manager at the end of the day.
Well, what we don't know is whether Louis van Gaal will walk away by himself, which he seems to be indicating he might do.
He's threatening that.
You see, I've said, and I don't think I've changed my mind on this, that the people running Manchester United don't know what to do. I don't think they have any idea.
Right.
I still can't see Jose Mourinho going there in the middle of the season.
Well,
I really don't think he wants to do that.
That's all calmed down in the last couple of days because there appears to have been no movement towards Jose. Jose apparently has been offered the job back at Real Madrid.
Yeah, which was expected, right?
Yeah, he's reluctant to commit himself because he's still waiting for the call for Manchester United, which clearly hasn't come. But all sorts of strange things are going on.
Because if you were Jose Mourinho, presumably he would like to take over Real Madrid and then be able to be in the Champions League. With Manchester United, he's going to be in the Europa League.
No, he'd prefer to be the next boss of Manchester United, without a shadow of a doubt.
He doesn't want to be in the Europa League.
Listen, it's only for this season. For the half a season, he's got to put up with that. Then he gets back into business with Manchester United, of that I'm sure. But listen, what I'm saying is, I can't see how Louis van Gaal can survive as Manchester United manager if you look at this exchange here.
Right.
Asked if there was anything left that's Louis van Gaal, could do to lift confidence among his own players, the Dutchman was unequivocal. No. When asked why, he said, because it's not so easy anymore. We need a victory. And, I mean, I think he's chucked the towel in. Also, I think for some bizarre reason, putting all the pieces of the jigsaw together this morning, Ed Woodward, who is the man... Ed, what's his name?
Woodward.
Ed Woodward.
Not Woodward.
Yeah, Ed
You
Woodward.
said Woodward.
Yeah.
No, it's Woodward.
Just stop that.
It's like the Equaliser. Edward Woodward.
Just stop that.
Can you not just say that?
Ed Woodward, right,
Yeah.
is in a position now where if you put all the pieces of the jigsaw together,
Yeah.
it looks like he's actually trying to stop Louis van Gaal
Yeah, I
from
think he
leaving
is.
the club.
Well, because if he makes him leave, or if he fires him, it's an admission of failure, isn't it? If
Well,
he
not
allows
you've got to
Louis-
find
if he-
somebody
if
else.
he allows Louis van Gaal to walk away from Manchester United, one of the biggest football clubs in the entire world, then what sort of chief exec is he?
Here's one assessment
Or you
from...
can just ignore that.
No, I took all that in.
No, you didn't.
Here's an assessment from Ian Ladyman, who's the Northern Football correspondent of the Daily Mail,
Yes.
right? He says, Louis van Gaal is a manager subconsciously waiting for someone to end his agony, a coach stuck in that horrible holding cell between despair and utter resignation. His players, meanwhile, are seeing their reputations disintegrate before their eyes.
Well, how about the headline? Beaten, broken, on his way out, and Van Gaal wears the look of a
Unbelievable.
man awaiting execution.
Unbelievable.
He can't be enjoying it, can he?
LVG Doomsday, United boss in crisis talks with his job on the line. Did you notice, by the way, when he left the pitch at Stoke after being beat 2-0?
He had bodyguards, right?
Well, there were two men in Max walking alongside him who looked like a couple of gangsters with, no disrespect to who they are, but they look like...
Well, I'm afraid you've already said it now.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
You can't take it back.
All right, well...
Did he not get lost on the way to the team bus as well?
It came out of the stadium, according to one report at Britannia, and turned the wrong direction. Because, he was trying to not put himself up in the spotlight by walking straight onto the bus, but he turned the wrong way and missed the bus, apparently. Didn't miss the bus going home, but took the wrong direction to the bus.
It's all very strange, isn't it?
I mean, it's...
And then he
I'm
doesn't pick Wayne Rooney. We're not sure if he's going to pick him today. I presume he will pick him today after he brought him on against Stoke. At least the team started to look a bit like Manchester United.
Wayne Rooney...
But it's a very odd situation.
Wayne Rooney must now be worrying about his own career, because if he's not starting for Manchester United, will he start for England next summer?
Yeah, well, we'll talk to Perry Groves about that a little bit later on. How about this from Ben, who says he's in Haywood? He says, Mike and Mike, and he's wrong about this. He's totally wrong, Ben.
Right, cool.
Boxing Day is actually the first working day after Christmas Day.
Thank you.
As Christmas Day was a Friday, today is Boxing Day.
Thank you.
Oh, what do you think, Ben? Nobody works on a Saturday.
Thank you.
Were you out and about on Saturday? Everyone was working.
Listen, you know when...
Saturday is a working day, so therefore that's Boxing Day.
Right, when you transfer money, bank-wise or something like that, you've heard the expression...
Oh, yeah. What, in between your different accounts, you mean?
3 working days. You've heard that expression, haven't you?
Yeah.
4 working days, 5 working days.
Well, when I transfer money now electronically, and I know you're not living in the electronic age, it actually goes immediately.
Yeah.
It doesn't take 3 working days.
But the business expression, it will take 4 working days, means what?
It means you're being conned.
It means Monday to Friday,
It means
okay?
you're being conned.
So, Ben, I want
living in the 70s. That doesn't count anymore.
Ben, I want to thank you very much indeed for stating the preciseness
Ben is clearly
of my
stuck
argument
in the
about
70s like you
Boxing
are.
Day. Thank you very much indeed.
Now, well, we're going
Ben.
to talk about Christmas
You can
Day.
listen as long as you want, Ben. You are no longer banned.
Well, never mind that. We're going to come up with Christmas Day, because I want to know what you got as a present. I want to know, because you will have had the most snobbish Christmas of all time.
No.
And that's what I want to talk about.
No.
This is Talk Sport with the 2 mics.
So here it is, Merry Christmas, everybody's having fun.
This is Talk Sport. We are the 2 mics. Have we not had enough of this song, by the way?
Well, it does drive people mad. I totally agree with you. But I tell you
It's
what.
after Christmas, technically.
Oh, yeah, of course it is. Yeah, but listen, I tell you what.
Do you
because
stop wishing people a Merry Christmas now, by the way? What do you wish them now?
I haven't-
Now that it's no longer even Boxing Day.
To be honest, I didn't wish many people a Merry Christmas
Well,
before
I know you're a
Christmas
bit like
Day.
that, yeah. But I mean, what would
I
you,
think it's a waste of
say?
time.
I mean, what would you say to people today?
Hello, have you had a nice Christmas?
Hello.
Yeah, no, have you had a nice
Bit lame,
Christmas?
isn't it?
By the way,
It's too early to say Happy New Year.
you know when you say to somebody,
Would
you've
you
had a
like, or just ignore that if you like?
Well, no, we'll do that nearer to the end of the week, okay? Because it'll be New Year at the end of the week. What I was going to say is, when I say to people, hello, have you had a nice Christmas? I generally speaking just keep walking or then switch off, because I couldn't care less whether I've had a nice Christmas or not.
But what about in the office? You can't be like that with people.
Oh, yes, I do, yeah, and they're working colleagues, and we have to have an aura of camaraderie.
An aura?
But normal...
Or a facade in your case.
People who are around who come up to you and ask you if you've had a nice Christmas, I feel like punching them in the face.
Yeah, but that's because you're a horrible person.
No, it's the most pointless question. It's the most pointless... Did you have a nice Christmas?
Did you have a nice Christmas?
I had a Christmas that suited me, and that's all people need to know.
What was the best present you got?
Best present I got? Let me just think now. What did I get? I got a new dressing gown off my mother. What's your problem?
What sort of dressing gown?
A blue and white striped one, of course.
A blue and white striped dressing gown? What, you mean like Sheffield Wednesday?
No, look, blue and white stripe, because I...
Blue and white stripes is not Everton.
Yeah, but an all royal blue dressing gown shows up too much sort of bits and pieces on it.
What do you mean?
know what I mean? Bits of cotton and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
So I prefer a blue and white
So
one.
what, it's like prison stripes?
No, you fool. It's stripes. Anyway, look, that's irrelevant.
Is it toweling? No, I want to know. Is it
People
toweling?
aren't interested in the
toweling?
presents. It is toweling. It is toweling, yeah. Now, listen...
Is it very long on you?
Well, it does feel warm. It's a wraparound type thing. Now, listen, about this song we've just played, right? And I agree with you. But you know, I studiously keep myself informed over Christmas, because I think it's only the right thing to do.
Good for you.
Particularly, I was doing these shows with you.
Yeah.
And I discovered a piece which was absolutely fascinating. That song was written by Noddy Holder. We all know that.
Yes.
But it was also written by...
I think you had as a loser in the last Winners and Losers competition.
I did, definitely did.
Even though he makes about £500,000 a year out of this one song.
There you go. But it was also written by a lad called Jim Lee.
Yeah.
Now, if you're of a certain age, you'll remember Noddy Holder, obviously the front man.
Yeah.
Jim Lee was the guy who was a little bit in the background. He was the bass player officially, but a very talented musician.
Very talented.
And on one record, well, I boo-hoo-hoo when I'm there with you, because I love you,
Yeah.
He played an electric violin.
He did.
So he is actually very gifted. Now, he also...
Was that not Dave Hill that played that?
No. This is what the story's all about.
Right.
So Noddy Holder and Jim Lee wrote the records between them.
Yeah.
The records, all of them.
Sort of the
all the hits.
Jagger and Richards
Yes,
scenario.
that's right. Yeah, all the hits, right. Consequently, according to the research I was doing, they each have fortunes of about £20 million.
Right.
Noddy Holder in particular lives in an estate in Cheshire worth about £3 million quid. As you quite rightly
Does he not live in
say...
the Midlands anymore?
No, he doesn't live in the Midlands anymore, no. Well,
right.
Cheshire and the Midlands aren't that far
Why are you
apart.
telling me all this anyway?
Because what I'm telling you is this. The other two lads in that group, Slade, Don Powell and Jim Lee, don't get any royalties from that record.
Dave Hill, you mean?
Eh?
You just said Jim Lee was one of the ones who gets the money.
Sorry. Don Powell and
God's
Dave Hill.
sake.
Don Powell and Dave Hill, the two Ds,
right.
Don and Dave. Might call them Dim Dom and Dim Dave, because they don't get any royalties. I'm not being rude.
Dumb and Dumber.
I'm not being rude. But they don't get any royalties.
Why should they get any royalties? They didn't write it.
No, but the point is, Noddy Holder and the boys haven't all got together for 5 years. So we get them all together for this meeting, right? This is part of my research.
Right.
They all sit down in a room, and Noddy Holder said, it was so painful, I'm never doing it again.
Right.
And he meant the bitterness
What was
and
the
the
meeting
angst.
about?
Well, about the fact
just to remind them that they won't get any money?
I don't know.
Why would you call a meeting to do that?
I don't know. The fact that
seems unusually cruel.
The fact they don't talk. But you see, the problem is, poor old Don Powell and Dave Hill, according to my research, are still doing things like Butlin's 80s, or was it 70s? Butlin's 70s nights and all this kind of stuff, whereas Noddy and Jim don't have to because they're wealthy, and that causes a lot of bitterness. And, you know, great songs always bring up those sort of stories, don't they?
They do. I'm so glad you told me that now.
I thought you should know that.
And I'm filled with a lot more knowledge about Slade than I could ever want to have been.
I thought you should know that. I mean, Ringo Starr only wrote a very few songs for the Beatles, obviously.
Well, he hasn't done too badly, is he?
Well, he's only worth 170 million.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's, you know, it's a bit different to being the drummer from Slade.
Yeah.
By the way, he had a terrible car crash and smashed his face up.
Don Powell.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
Jimmy Lee, actually, turned up opposite my house one time when I was playing football in the driveway to buy a house opposite me.
Where was this?
In Hampstead.
Really?
When I was growing up, I was about 12. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he got out of a massive, great big white Rolls Royce.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, he never bought the place in the end. He just kept a look at it.
Oh, really? What did you do? Did you sort of...
Well, my sister was a big Slade fan at the time.
Oh, okay.
She was very excited.
She run over and get his autograph?
No, she just watched him from behind a hedge.
Behind a hedge?
Yeah, we had a hedge in front of our
Why
house.
was she hiding behind a hedge?
Well, she was embarrassed. She was like 14. She was going to go over and talk to him.
Well, I would have done, you see. That would have been natural
Well, you
to
might
you
have
and I.
done. Now, we're going to talk to Danny in a minute.
Let's
who
do
wants
that.
to say something about Harry Redknapp. But first, Darren, I'm glad to say, has got a bit more sense about it. Boxing Day, he says, is a holiday traditionally celebrated the weekday or Saturday following Christmas Day. Hashtag Porky is a plank.
I think
Jack
not.
in Essex says Boxing Day is the day after Christmas Day, as Saturday was the 26th. Saturday was Boxing Day.
No.
And another one here from Jobbo, who says Boxing Day is St. Stephen's Day, and you cannot change a saint's day.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right. Now, we're going to keep talking about
But you
Louis
can
van
change
Gaal.
its representation
No, you
in the Christian
No,
calendar
rubbish.
under which you live. And that's
Absolute-
exactly what's been done.
Absolute and
I know
absolute
that.
rubbish. Let's talk to Danny, who's got something to say about Manchester United. Danny, very good morning to you.
Oh, hi, Phillips. How you doing?
Yeah, very well indeed. What do you want to say?
I want to talk about Man United and management in general this season. I think that the days of your, if you like, big name manager, I reckon, are over. And I think just because you've got a big name like Louis van Gaal, he comes into the club. They basically went out and bought a load of random players that might be good, but they haven't created a team. And he's clueless. I think
Well, they let an awful lot of good players go as well, didn't they?
They did. Well, I'm not being funny. If you look at someone like United, I look at them and think, right, they don't just want to win. They want to win with attacking, free-flowing football. I sort of think there's someone no one's talking about. I'd have Harry in there. I think Harry Redknapp would be someone that wouldn't mince his words. He'd be straight. I think he knows how. He puts teams together that attack.
He didn't do very well at QPR, though, did he?
Well, I agree with you, Danny. If it was an emergency measure, if they don't do the right thing and appoint Jose Mourinho, if Van Gaal walks out tonight or he gets sacked because they lose, I would agree with you that Harry Redknapp would be a perfect interim manager for Manchester United because he's great at...
I don't think United fans would want him.
He's great at crisis management, he's a great motivator, and frankly, there's nobody else around with the job who's big enough to be able to take on some of those players in the dressing room.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think Harry could go in there temporarily and do a really good job at United. Also, I'll tell you another thing. Mourinho should have been sacked really a long time ago. If you look at they couldn't defend at all. Yet they've probably got two of the best young defenders out on loan, Callas and Christensen. Right? What it was is I worry about Mourinho going to United because he doesn't like young players. Look at Lukaku.
Yeah, but also,
Now,
is it not the first time that you've seen all these players turn on Mourinho? I mean, suddenly Diego Costa discovers how to score goals again as soon as Mourinho leaves. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's obvious that something he might be great for one season or two or three. He obviously got it right at Porto, but then after that he was given shed loads of money everywhere he went. What I'm saying is it's quite patently obvious that he doesn't like picking young players. Now,
Well,
if I had a defence that could defend and I wasn't scoring goals and I wasn't playing very well in midfield, he let De Bruyne go, who's now looking a real talent at City. He let Lukaku go. He's got people like... Go and have a look online. You'd be amazed.
Yeah, okay. He's made mistakes there, Danny. He's also made an awful lot of very good positive decisions. The thing that Jose
I don't think you
Mourinho
could
would
suddenly
do...
turn around and say Jason Mourinho's now a terrible manager.
No, of course not. Jose
Danny, thanks very much
Mourinho
indeed.
would bring Wayne Rooney back into the fold as well, because...
Well, he would build a team around Wayne Rooney, wouldn't he?
Yeah, Van Gaal has definitely made Wayne Rooney a worse player by trying to fill his head full of all this kind of
Well, he's
nonsense.
made all of them worse players.
Yeah, but he's made Rooney in particular. Rooney works on instinct, right? right, Tony Cascarino in the Times this morning makes the point that the natural ability that don't worry about the time when I'm giving you some ideology, right?
Gotta move on.
When Wayne Rooney started losing that sort of street fighter type instinct, which has been drawn away for years, what should have happened is somebody should have come in and restored it to him. But instead, he was told by Louis van Gaal to start thinking about the game more. And in thinking about the game, thinking's
that's
not
completely confused him.
Well, it's not Wayne's strong point.
No,
I don't mean that he's lacking intelligence. I mean that the more you think about a game sometimes, the less effective you are. He's an instinctive... It's like me. I'm instinctive when I do things. If I think too long about things...
Stop talking.
Well, I think too long about things. Things go wrong.
It says here from Daniel, we're only 10 minutes in the show. Porky hasn't mentioned John Lennon, Boris Johnson, or called MG a fat oaf. You guys have changed. This is Talk Sport.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The enduring home of football.
It's modern radio, only better.
Talk Sport.
Just post-Christmas, right, the England team out there doing a brilliant job, and guess what? They're going to be blown off all the front pages tomorrow by what happens to Louis van Gaal. You know, when you see headlines this morning, Broad's
Why are you
burst.
talking about Louis van Gaal?
Excuse me, Paceman's 3 for 16, but they're going to be eclipsed. England are doing brilliantly on an overseas cricketing field.
Sorry about this, John.
You know, it's all Empire-type stuff, but it's all going to be in the shadow of Louis van Gaal.
Well, look, this is the modern way of sport, isn't it?
Yes.
But we can live side by side, Mike.
Side by side,
you know,
I like
where
that.
there's, where there's room for the Van Gaals in this world, there's still rooms for the Stuart Broads. I'm sure we can squeeze in a couple of minutes or a couple of column inches. I'm sure in your time and Fleet Street, you would have at
Don't
least
remind him about that.
given a photo the way of England, I'm sure, even if it was on the inside pages.
Well, do you know what, mate? You know, a huge hero.
He'd have been
like...
down in South Africa sniffing around trying to pick up some scandal at the hotel. That's what he'd have been doing.
And probably would have been successfully doing so.
Indeed. A huge hero like Stuart Broad there, you know, I mean, Schultz feels so proud of him. It warms the cockles of the heart, reminds us that, you know, the sun never used to set on the British Empire.
God's sake.
But now we have a Dutchman
Can we have a round of Land of Hope and Glory?
I tell you what, these days the sun never sets on TalkSport either, guys.
Well,
so
that's absolutely
as long as you're still crossing to me for the cricket, someone will be hearing updates.
Splendid. John will be
excellent.
talking to you throughout the show. Thank you very much indeed. John Norman there, keeping an eye on the cricket for us. England not doing too badly. I might ask you about the cricket later, since you're such an aficionado of the sport.
Well,
were you not? What were you? The third 11 captain or something?
Captain of the King's School Chester third 11.
Third 11.
Yeah.
And what was your speciality position?
Slip.
Silly mid-off.
No, slip. I was a great slip catcher.
Yeah, I bet you
We
were.
never lost a game, by the way.
How many games you play?
3.
How about this from Daniel?
Yeah.
He says, simultaneous laughter all around the country at 10:19 a.m. Porky's favourite Christmas present, a dressing gown off his mum.
Yeah, well, what's wrong with that?
Well, it's pathetic.
Why is it pathetic?
Because you're about 65 and you're saying that your favourite present is a dressing gown, blue and white striped, off your mum.
How
about this from the professor? Harry got a striped dressing gown from his mum to go with his iron security gate. For those who don't know, by the way, there are certain people who were listening to this for the first time. We do the show overnight on TalkSport. There are several kind of touch points that we might have to mention. Like, we'll have to explain how winners and losers work.
Yes.
Also, one of the things I'll be telling them is the state of your kind of life, because as I was saying to Danny Kelly, you know, you went down.
There is no state of my life.
You've got this prison guard sort of affair on the front of your apartment in Stockbroker Belt, Surrey. Right?
No.
You've got 3 of everything in various different places that you live.
What's wrong with that?
You went down to Bournemouth, was it, to spend time with the family, where you had the most snobbish Christmas, I presume, of all time.
No.
Why don't you talk us through the Christmas lunch?
Because our listeners are not interested in my Christmas lunch. They're more interested in what's going to happen.
Why haven't you asked
football
me
fields
what
today.
my favourite present was?
Because I don't care, neither do the listeners.
Well, they do, actually.
You don't get presents anyway.
I did. I got a most amazing present this Christmas.
Your family,
the most amazing present.
You smash your family up and they're scattered all over the globe, so...
What are you talking about?
All you can boast
Not
about
true.
is getting a Fortnum and Mason hamper from your sister.
I did get that, which was
Fortnum
very
and
nice.
Mason hamper.
That was very nice.
I suppose you drank all the booze inside within 20 minutes, did you?
No, I didn't. I got a very nice
You were bladderated all over Christmas, you were.
A nice bottle of red, a nice bottle of white, and a nice bottle of port, actually.
Oh.
LBV port.
Oh, that's a change, because it's normally a bottle of white, a bottle of red, bottle of rosé, bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
That's your normal procedure.
Well, it's not, actually.
Yes, it is.
Since I do
Every
have
Saturday night.
since I have young children, I can't do that. But why don't you ask me what my favourite present was? Why can't you bring yourself to do it? You just can't have me having any joy in life, can you?
Okay, perhaps you could have a drum roll or something like that. Mike, what was your favourite present over Christmas?
An Adele record.
An Adele record?
Yeah.
Do you know, it's funny you should say that? Because in the league of presents given this Christmas, Adele records even beat things like Aftershave, if you see what I mean.
Well,
more
listen to
Adele
how I said
presents
that,
given.
though. Listen
What?
to how I said that.
What?
You haven't noticed anything unusual.
What?
An Adele record.
An Adele record?
A record.
Yeah, so what?
Not a CD. Not
an
a
Adele
download.
record. Oh, I see.
A record.
Oh, I see. So you mean...
She has released a vinyl.
On a plastic.
record.
On a plastic, I've got it, yeah.
On a disc,
well, Here, guess what?
Because records are coming back.
Guess what?
And I played, and I thought, this is fantastic. It's the first record I've been bought, I think, for 25 years.
Do you know one of my jokes in one of my
Why are you
crackers?
cheering your fingers?
No. One of my jokes in one of my crackers over lunch, Christmas lunch was, right? You know, you pull the cracker, bang, you know, and then I thought this is a great joke, this. It said a bloke rang up the Guinness Book of Records, and he said...
You now turn this show into a Christmas cracker joke show.
No. He said, a bloke rang up the Guinness Book of Records. He said, I've just been up in my loft. He said, I found a piece of plastic 9 inches across with a hole in the middle. Is it a record?
Very good.
That was brilliant.
Which is even more surprising why it took you so long to catch on to what I was saying.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the other thing is, I gave my nephew a record player for Christmas.
Did you?
Yes, but it's not any ordinary record player. Guess what's unusual about it?
I don't know.
It is in a suitcase. You carry it around with you.
That's exactly the one I've got.
Oh, is it?
That's exactly the one I've got.
What,
it's
a record
blue
player?
It's blue, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you open it up.
Yes.
You open it up.
And you fold it out.
Yeah.
And it's a
costs about
record
100
player.
quid.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So where'd you get yours from?
I got it as a present.
Oh, who from?
I can't tell you.
Oh, I see. But you've got a record as well.
No, I got that ages ago as a present. So I've been playing all my old albums, but what I wasn't expecting was a new album, having just been released, to be given to me as a vinyl.
Adele 25, was it?
That's it.
There you
Well,
go,
of course
you
it
see.
is. That's the new album.
Well,
so you
I
know about it.
I'm up to date with all the
If I played
the
you something,
latest,
you wouldn't know. Now, here's this from World Traveller, who says, Slade, Porky, according to my research. What you mean, Parry, is you read the article in the Mail, like we all did. #plagiarist.
No, I didn't, because when I say research, if I do read, I try to read every newspaper every day, and things get locked into the back of my brain,
Really?
but I then have to go out and check out that it's absolutely correct before I relate to our millions of listeners.
All right, hang on. Here's one from Nat, who says, a blue dressing gown shows too much bits of cotton, so I get a blue and white one. Surely white cotton on blue is more visible.
Yeah, but you don't use white cotton on a blue dressing gown. You use blue cotton. But bits of it always seem to end up,
I think a blue and white striped dressing gown look ridiculous.
No, it looks great.
Leon Ryan says this. Harry Redknapp from Man United. That fella's been on the bladderation with Porky.
No, definitely not. I think it's a very good idea. And talking about dressing gowns, by the way, I have one in one of my other properties.
So did you leave
which is dark blue and light blue.
Hang on, do you leave this blue and white dressing gown down in Bournemouth then?
No, of course not. Why? I don't live in Bournemouth.
No, I know, but what are you throwing your pen around for?
Sorry,
Well, because you can leave. I mean, you have a pair of slippers down there, right? You were telling us earlier that there's
I don't.
one pair of slippers for going into the house.
No.
Separate pair of slippers for the kitchen.
No, I don't.
What sort of mad people are they?
No, listen.
This is the place where, as I reminded Daddy Kelly earlier, you're not allowed to drive your car onto the driveway of this palatial McMansion unless it's been washed.
Well, it's only standards, and you seem to object to all sorts of standards.
Well, I object to ridiculous kind of rules and regulations.
All my brother-in-law said was, look, before you come down for us, could you please wash your car? Because they live in a very nice...
Who does he think he is?
Well, I don't mind. He lives in a very nice...
If he told me to wash my car, I would deliberately drive it through a hedge or something before I parked it there.
Well, you...
Because this is the way I am.
We wouldn't invite people like you round.
Thank
we will
God.
never go to that house.
Thank goodness.
Because...
I don't ever want to go.
In the sort
How many ensuite bathrooms?
7, actually. In the road they live in, which is a very posh road in Bournemouth, back onto a golf course.
You're so bourgeois, aren't you?
No.
So bourgeois.
They just happen to
means
have...
nothing to me.
They just happen to have, right... neighbours with things like Bentleys and that sort of thing.
Things like Bentleys?
Yeah, which are very, very clean
What do you mean,
cars.
what else like Bentleys?
Well, I don't know, Maseratis
You see
and
that
things
guy with
like
Lamborghini, by the way, over the weekend?
Yeah, smashed
Rents
it
it
up.
for 900 quid a day.
Unbelievable.
Smashes it up.
Listen, did you know that poor people die sooner because they...
Well, that's not surprising, is it?
They've got low testosterone. Did you know that?
I didn't know it's because of that. I would have thought it was maybe their lifestyles were not as healthy as richer people.
This is why I fear poverty, honestly, because all sorts of things can happen to you. The link between wealth and health in Britain is well established, with the richest of us living up to
that's not a surprise to anyone.
Hang on, richest of us living up to 8 years longer than the poorest, right?
Yeah.
But now scientists have announced a possible reason, and it all comes down to our hormones. Researchers found that men from poor...
What are you shouting?
Hang on, this is important.
What are you shouting for?
Poor and uneducated backgrounds have lower levels of testosterone than their well-off counterparts.
Have you got any lower levels of testosterone because of your heart problem?
No.
You sure?
Not that I'm aware of.
Really?
I have...
Well, your hair's starting to fall out.
I'm going to ignore that. I have a very low heartbeat. In fact, what do you call that? Blood pressure.
You've got a very low centre of gravity as well.
No, you idiot. That's nothing to do with it.
Look, we've got a break now because I said the word. I wasn't supposed to say
Yeah,
that.
I need to tell you this because when I once had an inoculation, which is a jab in your arm...
The time is marching on.
The nurse put the needle in my arm, right, and then she pulled it out, and then she was mesmerised. No blood came out of my arm.
Really?
The reason is that my blood pressure is so low, because only 1/3 of my heart works, that the blood didn't come out. So she had to get another needle and stick it in a bit deeper. You see what I mean?
She just take a machete to it.
No,
so
you
did
idiot.
you get any blood out in the end?
I think they got some blood in the end.
Do you know what blood type you are? You don't, do you?
Well, it doesn't matter, really,
Which also feeds into my theory that there's nothing wrong with you at all. It's all absolute cobblers.
Oh, really? Well, I wish that was the case. I wish that was the case.
Yeah.
You know, be careful what you wish for. That's all I'm telling you.
I'm not wishing for anything. I'm wishing you would look at the time once in a while and stop rabbiting on. This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. I don't know whether this is going to happen all the time now. Whenever you appear, they start to play Z cards.
Yeah, well, I think it's...
I'm starting to get a bit sick of it. I mean, if I was a Watford fan, for example,
no, I'm not getting
where
sick
they
of
also
it.
play Z cards, right?
Yeah,
I would be a little bit miffed, to be honest.
Miffed if you were what?
Miffed because, you know, they only seem to play the Z-Cars theme in relation to you.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Everton.
Yeah.
So if I was a Watford fan, I'd be going, why don't you play that over Watford?
With the greatest respect, Everton have a much larger claim to that.
Why?
Well, because A, it was a TV series based in Liverpool.
Yeah, so?
It starred Brian Blessed,
Well, when did
Fancy
Watford
Smith.
start playing?
I've no idea, I don't know, but I mean, you know, we've been playing since the early 60s. No, I do. I think Watford are, a fantastic institution at the moment and doing extremely well. I personally would say we have more claim to it. Watford fans would say they have a claim to it. Good, we can share it. That's not a problem.
Now, I've got a couple of corrections for you.
We don't need corrections.
Yeah, we do need a couple of corrections because particularly on the vinyl front,
right.
We've got. This is where you see people are a bit behind the times. Gary has tweeted in with a picture of him holding the Adele CD.
Right.
It says, "You are so last century, MG."
Yeah.
Which is entirely wrong because actually vinyl is coming back in a massive way.
Oh, retro.
Ian says, "Good to see you are getting into the vinyl. It always sounded best and always will. Vinyl kills the MP3 and CD," which is correct. Now, Fish in London says, "Please tell Porky about that joke you told.
Yes.
Records come in 7-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch.
Yeah.
So that 9-inch you said you had in the loft is definitely a record."
It could have been a record for the only 9-inch record ever made.
I must read you this one, which is a brilliant text from Gary in, I don't know where he is actually, sent this into 81089. He says, "I'm really enjoying Mike Parry's Boxing Day programme. I'm not sure who it is who keeps interrupting you."
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's you.
It's the two mics, Gary.
Yeah, well, it is called the two mics, but I think, maybe somebody once suggested to me, why don't you call it the 1.5 mics? You've been a half-baked.
Well, it'd be one and a third, sure. It's only a third of your heart works. Including a third of your brain as well.
Third and half, maybe. Listen, that music was to indicate the fact that Everton had a historic victory at Newcastle United with a wonderful goal by Tom Cleverley.
For once, the final goal in the game actually went to Everton.
Yeah, and in the 93rd minute. So,
do you know, I heard a statistic actually at the weekend, which you probably already know.
Last 15 minutes of every game, Everton are scoring.
Not just that, they hold the record for scoring in the last 10 minutes.
They do.
In the Premier League
this
year.
Which is brilliant. What I was going to say was, that was a bit of karma, for what happened at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
When at Bournemouth we thought we'd won in the 95th minute, but then we drew 3-3 because they scored the 98th.
By the Everton fans invading the pitch.
Well, that was an unfortunate situation.
I presume there was no invasion of the pitch at the weekend at Newcastle.
Have you seen how big Newcastle's ground is?
Yeah.
Well, you have, because we stayed in that hotel, the Sanderman next to it, but it is massive inside. All I'm saying is that was great. But what I really want to know now is, how come Everton are playing today against Stoke, who, by the way, whose players run more miles per game than any other club in the Premier League?
Yeah, I'd be worried if I were you.
So Everton are going to be run off their feet today, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And Liverpool, right, our arch rivals from across Stanley Park, get another 2 days rest.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Well,
not
Neil
bitter
says,
or envious or anything.
Neil says this. He said Everton may be playing again today, but then they don't play until Sunday, whereas Liverpool play Wednesday and then Saturday.
Well, it's only one day.
And he says his team is Forest. He said we played last night. We then played tomorrow and Saturday.
Yeah, well, you see.
Then he calls you clueless.
I know, but you see, in the Championship, there's more teams, so they have to play games in a greater concentration of days together.
Yeah.
That's the point. So you think Everton are going to have a problem problem against Stoke?
Well, I mean, given the way that they completely humiliated Manchester United at the weekend,
I have to say,
and
it's a
played
tough game.
with a lot more style, and a lot more panache, than you would perhaps expect Stoke to play with.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be full of confidence.
Yeah,
I mean, Mark Hughes said one of the reasons that they were so easily able to defeat United is because United haven't got any confidence.
No, that's absolutely
Stoke
true.
have got loads of it.
But everybody goes on about, Mark Hughes, brilliant manager. But I mean, I don't think Everton have had a great season, and yet we're above Stoke by, what is it?
Well, was it not you that said a couple of weeks ago that there was going to be the Merseyside dominance of the Premier League?
I thought it would happen.
Which hasn't exactly happened.
I thought Klopp was turning Liverpool into a sort of goal machine, and what did they score? 16 goals in 3 games, and then they scored one in the next 4 games.
They didn't have a win for about 3 or 4 games.
That's right, yeah. Exactly,
that's the problem. But they managed to beat Leicester. I'm surprised you haven't had a go at me over that, because I've been saying all along that I think Leicester might even be able to stay the course and at least stay in the top 4, if not win.
Well, Leicester had to lose at some stage, and they only lost 1-0. So that is not a Leicester collapse. What I think is really worrying for Monsieur Arsene Wenger is how his team can be so good 1 minute and then capitulate to a 4-0 defeat the next. I just don't get it.
Well, we'll have to ask Perry Groves about that.
We will.
He's coming up very shortly. I mean, I can't understand it either. I mean, they were literally sliced open. The Southampton haven't even played that well.
Yeah, what about that lad's first goal? It's his first appearance for Southampton.
Martino.
Was it Martino?
Yeah.
And he hit it with the outside of his foot, and it bent like a banana.
It did.
It was a banana shot.
It was like one of those Brazilian shots.
Yeah, the true banana shot. Garrincha used to hit a ball like
That's
that.
right, yeah.
But I've never seen a boy hit it. Now, the other thing is, I'm defending myself against the Sterling statistic, okay?
Yeah, we haven't even got to Raheem Sterling yet.
Well, I'm just about to. You see, attack is the best form of defence.
Really?
Before everybody starts attacking me
before
and
you start, all right, well, let me just say 2 things before we get into Raheem Sterling. On Saturday afternoon, I saw you putting out 2 predictions for the Everton score. Within an hour. Perhaps you can explain this. I don't know whether drink had been taken. First you said it was going to be 4-1 to Everton.
Yes.
And you'd obviously forgotten you put that one out. Then you said it was going to be 3-1 to Everton.
No, I didn't forget.
So why did you put out 2 different predictions?
I didn't, actually.
You did?
No, I didn't.
You want me to find them?
No. The answer to that one is that Samuel Johnson once said, a man who cannot change his mind
Samuel Johnson
has no mind at all. Okay?
So you're going to change your mind on Raheem Sterling then?
No.
You're going to say he's not going to score more than 5 goals? Well, in fact, you said he wouldn't score 5 goals.
I said he will not score more than 5 games in the Premier League, okay?
Yeah. You said he would not score 5 goals in the Premier League. Not more than 5, you said 5.
Of his 5 at the moment, they've only been scored in 3 games.
Doesn't matter.
1, 3 in one game, a hat-trick,
Makes
and
no
1.
difference.
So he only scored in 3 games.
It makes absolutely no difference.
Also, if you look at the small print on my prediction, the small print on my prediction, it did not include headed goals. And his goal at the weekend was a headed goal.
I can read you your tweet if you like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely not a problem.
Yeah, but that's only part of the jigsaw of tweets I put together on Raheem Sterling.
Well, because you've been trying to weasel out of it, right?
It's not definitive.
You've been trying to weasel out of it by saying what you meant was, this is your original tweet, 16th of August 2015 at 17:26. Raheem Sterling will not score 5 Premier League goals this season, but can anybody predict when he might score the first of his 4, please? That's what you said.
Well, look, even if you give him all the credit for everything he's done,
that's what you said.
A hat-trick of goals plus 1 plus 1 5. That's still only 5. So I'm still in the ascendancy. I said he would not score more than 5.
No, you said he wouldn't score 5.
More than 5.
No, you want to read it again?
No, a word dropped out.
Can anybody predict when he might score the first of his 4?
Anyway, look, the audience don't want to be listening to all this. What they really want to know is what is going to happen today. What is going to happen today to Louis van Gaal? Will he still be the manager of Manchester United at the end of the day?
Well,
my prediction?
Yeah.
No.
I think you may be right. I was going to say Manchester United will not fire him, but he may walk away.
Well, that might happen.
That would be my wrinkle to it.
That might happen.
But we've got loads more to talk about. We are the 2 Mikes. You can call us, of course, 08717 223344. If you're a Manchester United fan, you may want him to walk away because whatever comes next might be better.
Yeah.
It's Talk Sport. Good morning, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry, you're listening to the 2 Mikes Bank Holiday Special. The biggest game of the year gets underway this afternoon, and by the end of it, the Premier League might well have lost another manager. Louis van Gaal seems to have run out of road, run out of ideas, run out of support, and run out of luck. A bit like Mike Parry, really. How did it ever come to this at one of the greatest football clubs in the world? 08717 223344. We've got a game called Winners and Losers coming up a little bit later on. We're going to talk to Perry Groves very, very shortly. You're listening to 2 Mikes with me, Mike Graham, and Mike Parry on TalkSport. What?
I want to talk to Perry about the Jack Wilshere situation.
Parry talks to Perry.
Parry to Perry.
Yeah. Jack Wilshere situation not good.
It's not good. So,
well, I'll tell you what. Not only is the Jack Wilshere situation not good, the Daniel Sturridge situation is not good. And the Wayne Rooney situation is not good.
I was looking at that. Jurgen Klopp has rejected Daniel Sturridge's claim that he's now good to go after his latest injury setback. So you've got a manager here who's not pushing his player forward, trying to get him back more quickly. Right. He's trying to restrain the player's enthusiasm to get back. Having previously suggested that Sturridge needed to learn the difference between serious pain and what is only normal pain, Mr. Klopp has now adopted a safety-first policy. What are you laughing at?
What's the difference between serious pain and normal pain?
I don't know.
What's he talking about?
I don't know. He says that Sturridge needs to learn the difference between serious pain and what is only pain.
Right. Well, maybe Perry knows the answer to that.
Yeah, I suppose
Shall we ask him? Yeah. Perry, very good morning to you. Welcome.
Morning to the two Mikes. How's it going?
Yeah, very well indeed.
Perry.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. What does he mean? I mean, you're a former footballer. What's the difference between real pain and
normal pain?
All normal pain.
I think real pain is when you don't get on with the manager, you're not in the team. That's the real pain.
Yeah, quite.
I think what he means is he's alluding to his mental strength. And what he's saying is there are some injuries which are slight and they might be painful, but you can play through them and they're not going to get any worse. There's other serious, and if you do try, they will make you worse. So I think every player after the first 2 or 3 games of the season will have some sort of knock or they'll be struggling with some injury, and you just have to play through it.
And so how do you relate that to the Jack Wilshere situation, Perry? You must have a very close eye on that, mate, with it being your club, of course, and it's becoming a bit of a tragedy. The boy hasn't played yet this season and won't play now until at least February.
Yeah, I think if you look at his past record, Mike, I think he's played 98 league games for us in the last 5 years. He's only had one full season, which has been out, which is with his ankle injuries.
Yeah.
But with this one, I think it's a stress fracture of his fibula. And some players heal a lot slower than what other players do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know the medical staff have been to question, but when you have like a bone injury, which is the impact injury, that is really out of their hands because you can only start the player training once the X-rays and all the specialists say, yep, he's ready, his bone's healed.
Sure, absolutely. Perry, if you were in a dressing room where the manager, and I'm relating now to the Manchester United situation, is speaking openly and publicly about not having any more ideas on how to turn around the very, very depressed fortunes of his team, how on earth does that relate to the squad of players who've got to go out there and do it against Chelsea today?
Well, that's a bit strange, Mike, because LVG, he's being paid, probably £150,000 a week to have ideas. It's his job to say, right, this system isn't working or my philosophy isn't working, I have to try and change it. And I was at the Norwich game at Old Trafford when Norwich beat Man United 2-1. And Louis van Gaal didn't change anything. He changed Herrera, but he didn't change the movement in the team. He didn't change the tactics. And the other thing, if I was Wayne Rooney, I'd be wondering, he's supposed to be his lieutenant on the pitch. He's your captain. He's supposed to be your closest ally, the link between you and the players.
Yes.
And he left him out.
Yes.
He left him out.
And apparently he only told him just before the game was about to start, didn't he? And he didn't give him the captain's armband when he did come on. Yeah,
again, that's very strange because when you're struggling, you need your senior players behind you. You need, because they've been through it all before. The younger players, they're looking for guidance, and leadership because they haven't been. And if you look at Chelsea, if you lose your senior players, then basically the manager goes because you're not going to get rid of 7 or 8 senior players.
Yeah, no.
I mean, what do you think is likely to happen? I mean, because Louis van Gaal, when you look back at his kind of, his history, the league titles that he's won in 3 different countries, he won the Champions League with Ajax, he's lifted the UEFA Cup. I mean, he's never walked away from a job as far as we know.
Oh, he has.
We know that he's had problems in various different situations after a couple of years, right?
Absolutely.
But not in a situation where he's walked away when it's been so awful like this, where he doesn't seem to have the confidence of the fans, the players. It's all gone horribly wrong. I mean, do you think he's just past it?
I think if you look at LVG, he has had problems with players or his board. He's won trophies. He's already been successful, so then he wants a bigger power base. At the moment, the only reason I think he's still in the job is because he is LVG, because of his track record and his past history. If you look at David Moyes, he didn't have that kudos. And I'm looking at Van Gaal, just looking and thinking, is he making if they get beat? See, I know he says he'll walk away, but it's very difficult to walk away from probably, I don't know, 5-7 million quid.
Yeah.
So when he says he'll walk away, he probably means I'll go and have a word with him and say, look, is it the mutual agreement, where he takes a bit of a payoff and then he goes?
Yeah.
Or maybe they knock him upstairs or something and let somebody else come in.
No, honestly, he's lingering around like a bad smell at the club, isn't he, Perry? And I don't mean that unkindly, but to have a manager, Perry, who needs two minders, in Max, who look like they used to work for the Cray twins, escorting you off the pitch at Stoke, is ridiculous.
Well, I think because there'd be no reason to have him hanging around as a football director or, an advisor, because his direction of the football at the minute has been pretty turgid. So
that's
you wouldn't
the
have him, and the manager who coming in, if it is someone like Mourinho, there's someone else who wants to be, although they get on okay-ish, there's someone who would want to be in total control of a football club. Then that probably wouldn't work.
Exactly. One final question on Arsenal, Perry. What went wrong at the weekend, and have they now sort of blown their confidence levels for getting to the top of the league?
I just think that they weren't mentally prepared. If you look at, they dominated possession, but you just looked as if Southampton was hungrier, and they just did the horrible things a lot better than what Arsenal did. And I know they've taken a bit of criticism over that defeat because they've been very good away from home before then. Mm-hmm. If you look in 2015 poll, I think Arsenal will be at the top of the league. It's just one whole year. So the question mark of Arsenal now is, can they, after having such a poor performance, playing against Bournemouth later on today, can they bounce back? And I'll tell you something, everybody's saying, Bournemouth play expansive football, which they do. But if you don't match their energy and you don't match their desire and commitment, it could be a very difficult game for Arsenal. But I expect Arsenal's quality to come to the fore because you have to have a reaction. You have to prove something to the fans.
Yeah, you certainly do. It seems like one of those years where nobody wants to win the Premier League again.
Absolutely, it does.
Perry, thank you so much. Perry Groves there, talking us through what he thinks is going to happen with LVG as well.
I'll tell you what I haven't touched on, by the way. Now, this game today, United and Chelsea, I have dubbed it the Battle of the Titan Tulips.
These two guys don't like each other,
The Battle of the Titan Tulips.
Right.
You've got Louis van Gaal.
And the philosophy.
And you've got Gus Hiddink.
Yeah. And Gus Hiddink, apparently, is a completely different character, isn't he?
Well, he likes the big cigar, he likes a glass of champagne, he likes a bit of life and frivolity. Louis van Gaal, he says all the time you must be serious about your football.
And what about
and have a philosophy.
Yeah. I was listening to the breakfast show and they were saying, at any point do you think later on today will Van Gaal actually venture out into the technical area? He sits there with his little notebook, right? And what can he be writing? I mean, what can he be writing down at the weekend against Stoke?
And as I've told you before,
this is a nightmare. This is awful.
So I've told you before, the bench is a long way from the technical area at Old Trafford. It's about 3 rows up, and so you are very absent if you're not there.
Yeah.
Now the other thing I was going to say is, do you remember when United played Southampton and Southampton won? That was another titanic battle of the tulips.
It was.
Because of course that was Koeman.
He doesn't get on with Koeman either.
I was about to say.
He doesn't get on with anyone.
I was about to say.
He's actually a bit like you.
So
you don't get on with anyone.
Oh, that's
There's nobody you get on with.
Oh, that's a nice little dig.
Apart from Alan Brazil, because you're frightened of him.
Oh, why am I frightened of Alan Brazil?
I've no idea why you're frightened of him.
Tell me why I'm frightened of Alan Brazil.
First, there's a wicket in a cricket. You can
what am I frightened about?
I don't know what you're frightened about.
Maybe collapsing after, embellishing my 1/3 of my heart working in the sort of social atmosphere that Al sometimes generates. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's been a wicket in a cricket.
I want to pick you up on that terrible allegation.
Just tell everybody what they're listening to. This
all right, we'll get that
Bank
out of the way.
Holiday special. Right. What's wrong with you now?
Well, I want you to qualify this dreadful allegation that nobody likes me.
No, well, you don't like anybody else. I'm not saying nobody likes you.
Yeah.
But you have confessed in the past you don't have any friends.
No.
You don't want friends.
No.
You consider them to be a burden.
No.
You don't want anybody relying on you.
No. That's
you don't want to be intimate with anybody.
That's very unfair.
And let's face it, I mean, in Talk Sport, you can probably count on the fingers of one finger how many people actually like you.
Well, are you mad?
I mean, I only just about tolerate you.
Why do you say these things for?
How many people can you name in Talk Sport who like you?
I don't go around boasting about how many people like me, and I'm not in a popularity contest.
When you were at the Daily Express and the so-called News Supremo, how many people there liked you?
Well, everybody respected me. I don't think so. I'm not in the I want to be like game.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, life is not a popularity contest.
When you were at the FA, how many people liked you there?
Do you know how lonely it is when you get to the top?
No.
When you get to the top, man, it's lonely. It's lonely. It's lonely up there
because
because people...
You think you've ever been to the top office of Wetherspoons?
People stand in awe of you. Now, listen, I need to...
I've got some more tweets here before
in a
you
second,
go on.
I
need to read these tweets out.
1 second, please.
These are people who have taken the time to tweet the show.
And that is why I must just put out this message first, please.
Okay,
and that is, sorry, folks, some people have been trying to contact me during the show. Unfortunately, I got a new phone the day before Christmas, and I have left that at home today because I brought the wrong phone. I brought the old phone. I'm
so
awfully
you've
sorry.
come to work without one of the main tools of your profession?
This morning I have, actually. I'm very sorry about that.
That's extraordinary.
Well, you know what happened? You won't believe this.
No, what did happen?
I like to have a paper...
Was it dark when you left the house or something?
It was, actually, yeah. But I like to have...
Have you got any lights on?
Of course I've got lights. Now, I like to have a paper diary, right? And my new
diary?
Yeah. You know, like a diary.
No, I mean, like some kind of Japanese affair.
No, you fool.
A paper diary?
Instead of having it electronically on my phone, it's a diary that you buy in W.H. Smith. And it says 2016 on the front.
But it's not a paper diary, is it?
It's got a dark blue cover. Well, I mean, as opposed to an electronic diary. And it's got hard covers, right?
It's a little book, then.
Yeah, a little book. That's right, a little book, absolutely. Now, the point is, this morning, you won't believe this, but my new phone is brilliant, and it lasts for about... like 2 days, whereas my old phone...
it lasts for 2 days?
Without needing to be charged.
No.
Whereas my my old phone got so knackered that I was walking round with a charger and basically... plugging it into everything I saw.
Yeah.
I was plugging it in on trains.
Well, that's because you don't know how it works,
in pubs and all sorts of things.
You had all the apps open, probably.
I have no idea. Anyway,
you are the single most useless technologically brained person I know.
I admit to some of that. So this morning, anyway, as I've got everything together, I've got all my my journals and files and all that kind of stuff. Got my because I had my headphones cleaned while I was away over Christmas, so I had to pick them up. And
what do you mean you had them
yesterday.
Cleaned?
I had them. You can have them like cleaned on the inside.
Cleaned by whom?
Well, people who put
headphone cleaners.
Yes.
Where'd you find one of them?
Like a blower thing in. The chapters at the electronics shop near me in Epsom.
How much did you charge you for that?
£8.50. What's your problem? What's your
ridiculous.
Problem? No, it's not.
Well, you just clean them with a sort of a disinfected cloth.
You can't because the wetness and the moisture might damage them. They're very sophisticated.
You are the most ridiculous man I've ever known. I mean, you are so easily conned.
Sennheiser.
Yeah, this is the faux leather pouch, isn't it?
Sennheiser, some of the best headphones in the world. Now then, so the problem is because I'm run up to date.
How dirty were they?
They weren't dirty at all, but I like to keep everything good. Now then, the point is because as I came out this morning, I reached over to my cabinet full of my electronic gear. And
You've got a cabinet full of electronic gear?
I certainly have.
What else have you got in there?
Well, it doesn't matter.
No, I want to know.
And I put
What else have you got in there?
I put my phone in my pocket.
Right.
When I got to the station... I thought that phone isn't buzzing or ringing. That's odd because people are always trying to get hold of me. I took it out and it wasn't. It was my new diary, but it's exactly the same thickness and shape of my new phone.
What was it doing in the electronic cupboard?
Well, I put it there.
So you put it there in error. This is what happens. This when you have a system like that. You have to be very careful.
No, I put it there because I knew it would be there. You see.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't go in the electronic cupboard. Well, surely it goes in the paper cupboard.
Well, it would do.
Have you got a paper cupboard?
I've got repositories for a lot of different bits of gear. That's for sure.
Yeah, but surely you should have checked that you had the phone.
Well,
with
I thought it was the phone.
It's a major part of your job.
It feels exactly the same.
What if I've been trying to get a hold of you? What if something had happened, right?
Yeah.
And you'd had some kind of heart attack on the train?
Yeah, well, it would have been a problem.
What if you'd been late on the train, stuck on the train in the sidings? I mean, the trains at the moment are not running very well.
I didn't deliberately mean to leave my phone at home.
It's not good enough.
Now, the point is,
shocking.
Because I have a leather diary, and the cover to
it's not faux leather?
No,
like your crappy bag.
And the cover to my new phone is leather. They felt exactly the same.
You got a leather phone?
I've got leather cover to my phone, yes.
Why?
Because I like it to be protected from, the elements and that kind of stuff, okay? And the point I'm making is, it's a mistake anybody could have made.
If you spent as long, looking for your phone and making sure you had it, as describing how you forgot it,
yeah, well, exactly.
we wouldn't be in this situation.
I'll tell you what's a nuisance. You feel almost like naked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
You feel
I couldn't be without my phone.
Well, it's very hard. So anybody who's been trying to contact me, I'm so sorry.
So you're unable, in other words, you're unable
to
do what is normally part of your responsibility on this show, which is to read out some tweets.
Well, I leave that to you. I leave that to you.
Well, no, it's your job to read some of them out.
Yes, I know it's my job to read some of them out, but as I haven't got my information device, I can't, can I? So I'll let you do that.
Right,
and I meanwhile, will fill up most of the rest of the show with, decent knowledge which people want to hear.
Well, we'll see whether you do. Lee says this, talk about backpedalling. Can we get an update on Porky's indoor bike he got last Christmas? Is it in the locked room?
No, it's gone back.
My exercise bike?
Yeah.
Did you ever get on it?
Actually, it never arrived. in the sense that I realised it was too big, and I had to send half of it arrived. Then I realised if this is only half of it, I won't get the other half in the room. Yeah, so I sent it back.
You wouldn't know where to put it. Amas says, after Porky's non-Sterling predictions, I'm now listening to the one Mike, which is Mike Graham, plus some static interference.
Oh, yeah?
Hashtag plank. Espy says, I was thinking Porky might be a little happier today, as you're on at a different time, but he's still a miserable plank.
I'm not miserable plank
you
at
are
all.
Miserable.
I'm
It's
full
just
of
why
joys
people
of spring.
don't like you.
Full of joys of spring.
And the two Mikes FC says, can you ask Porky if he got a pair of blue and white stripy Christmas slippers to leave at a box in Bournemouth as well?
No.
I want to know what else you got for Christmas from, the Snob family.
Well, you see, you say that because you're trying to put me down, but I
I'm not
won't
trying
be
to
put down.
I'm just describing your family as indeed they are.
And you're putting my family down. I tell you what I did
Who has separate slippers for the kitchen?
Well, that's up.
I don't know anyone else apart from your sister who has separate slippers for the kitchen.
That's entirely up to my sister. She's got a lovely home. She likes to keep it in pristine condition. It's like staying at a 5-star hotel. So I'm very grateful to her, and
well,
she's
you
the
don't
best.
get separate pairs of slippers in a 5-star hotel. You get one pair.
I tell you what I did get. I got a lamp.
A lamp?
Lamp.
What sort of lamp?
It's a lamp that's on a long, like, what do you call it?
Stand.
Stand. With
a lamp stand?
Yeah, honest to God, with a bendy bit at the top.
What do you mean honest to God?
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is it's a solid lamp stand.
Yeah.
But at the top...
So it's a standing lamp?
Yeah, it's bendy.
Yeah.
And it bends over.
Is it one of those kind of stainless steel affairs?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And guess what?
How terribly 70s.
No.
It is. Your life is like a whole kind of, episode of Abigail's Party.
You know, I have to read through my journals.
Coco Van.
You know, Coco Van, what's that going to do?
Black Tower.
What are you on about?
Matches Rosé. It is.
You know.
Your life is like something out of the 70s.
You know I have to read through my journals all the time. Medical journals, psychological journals, construction journals, because I want to keep up to speed with what's going on in the world.
You say.
So what I do is I sit in my armchair, which is a specially built armchair to protect my back from damage, and
specially built armchair?
Yeah. Specially built armchair. What do you mean, for what? To sit in, of course, you idiot.
Well,
what else do you do in an armchair?
Built, though?
Well, it's specially built to protect my back. I had it...
what? What's wrong with your back?
Well, everybody needs to sit up straight in an armchair.
Yeah.
I've seen you in recline.
Yes.
And I've seen you recline on a couch.
Yeah.
Bladderated.
No, very
and
rarely.
I've told you, you sit around like that for 20 minutes, you lose a day's life in your spine.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, you're the one that's been 36 hours from death.
Because, yes, but that's because I had acute heart failure, something you'll never experience.
Oh, I certainly hope not.
You'll just drop dead. Not hopefully, but I mean...
That's very kind. What a nice Christmas thought.
And if you compress yourself on a couch like that, then you're really doing your spine in. So I had a chair specially made so I sit up straight.
Yeah.
So I sit up straight, and I've got my lamp, which bends over at the top. It's got these fantastic, like, bulb-type things in them, which are not bulbs, you know what I mean? What are they called? Is it halogen?
Halogen, yes.
Are they halogen?
Yeah, well, they are, probably.
I think they are, yeah. But, I mean, it literally turns...
So how did you get that in the car, then?
Into daylight.
Well, how did you get that in the car?
It's all folded up.
Oh, right.
It's all folded up.
Folded up.
And you have to put it together.
And which one of your many houses are you going to put it in?
It's going to go into my Surrey pad, into my penthouse in Surrey.
Maybe you could put it over the electronic cupboard so that next time you're looking for your phone, you won't mistake your diary for something which looks completely different.
Well, I deserve aberration for my aberration, if you see what I mean.
You do?
No, I didn't mean aberration, did I?
You've seen the time.
I deserve to be...
So think about what you're going to say and say it later.
Yes, I might have
you
to.
do that?
But you're right, I should have brought the phone with me today. I haven't. I apologise to that, folks, but don't worry, show goes on.
Well, the good news is you won't be able to ring me when you've left, which is great. This is Talk Sport. Did you see that story about Norwich over the weekend, by the way?
You talking about Ed Balls?
I am talking about Ed Balls.
Yeah, I mean, this is a man who has a questionable record of financial competence in government.
You might say that.
And I'm not saying...
Well, they spent all the money, didn't they?
Well, yeah, exactly. When he came out of
By
government...
their own admission.
The Treasury left a note saying there's no money left. Has now been taken on as executive chairman of Norwich.
Norwich Football Club, yeah. I mean, we knew he was a Norwich fan, but we might talk a little bit more about that coming up.
We might do.
I've got a couple of tweets I want to read out to you.
Yeah.
Nick says this, that sounds like a great scam. I'm going to set up my own headphone cleaning company.
Yeah,
Hashtag
right,
easy
good
money.
idea. What you do is you blast air through it, and it's like...
How do you even establish that somebody does that?
Do you know what? It's not even air. Do you know what it is? It's like... ray or something.
A ray?
Do you understand what
Is
I'm
that what the
talking
guy's told you?
It's like
he's using some kind of laser to clean them.
No, like a sort of cathode ray, I think it is, honestly.
Cathode ray?
You know the sort of thing...
Isn't that
I'll
television?
tell you what it reminded me...
Isn't that TV?
Tell you what it reminded me of when I saw it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes in, like, kebab shops...
Yeah.
Although I've never been into one.
No, you've only looked in from the outside.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They have, like, this blue cathode ray thing, and it frightens off bees and all that kind of stuff,
What do
doesn't
you
it?
mean, the insecto zapper?
Is it an insecto zapper, yeah, whatever it is? It's
ultraviolet light, isn't it?
It looks like that. It looks like that.
It's not a cathode ray tube.
Well, whatever it is.
That's how you watch television.
Hey, listen, you say you were...
Or how you used to watch television.
You say you're reading out tweets and all that.
I am.
Now, you're on Facebook as well, aren't you?
I am on Facebook.
Right.
Not quite at the moment, but I am quite often on Facebook.
Let me tell you this great Facebook story, right?
Well, let me just read you a couple more of these.
Okay, yeah, good idea.
Because here's one from Rocco. In Horwich, he says, I'm just waiting for LVG to bring that book out he's been writing all season on his lazy backside on the bench. Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he is. He's writing his memoirs.
That's all he ever seems to be doing, actually. He's sitting on the bench and writing.
Yeah.
What's he going to call it? My philosophy.
My philosophy. Yeah, part 94. Because a couple of other people have said that. Pierce says he thinks LVG's playing Sudoku when he's sitting up in the stands, which is very possible.
Maybe.
And Scott says he's done a picture of Hyacinth Bouquet, you might remember from that TV show. He says, I now know who Mike Parry's sister is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that bucket woman, #Snobsville.
That's right. LVG could also call his book, couldn't he? You know, it's a true story behind Louis Van Gaal's army.
Yeah, right.
Van Gaal's army. What a situation.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Now, let me tell you this, right?
Go on.
So this chap has been married to his wife for 30 years.
Yeah.
Right, hear this. And this is one of these agony aunt things, which I just came across, right? I read your column every week and now really need advice myself. Just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary, and although not a big Facebook user, I decided to post a message about my wife. I used her maiden name and a picture of her when we first met, saying how I was so lucky to meet her and how happy I was that she's decided to become my missus. At first, I got a few likes. But then I started to get comments from people I'd never heard of. One in particular was from a woman saying she was amazed our marriage had lasted anything like 30 years, because when she shared a house with my wife, who then was not my wife then, of course, and two other girls, my wife held the record for having sex with 11 different blokes in 1 month.
Dear God.
This is disgraceful behaviour. She went on.
This was written to somebody on Facebook.
This was a comment on Facebook when people.
But how does he know it's true though?
Well, he's worried enough about it to seek advice about it.
Right.
He says. The correspondent went on to say that in the 2 years they shared, my wife was shameless in her relationships with men and would sometimes bring back two blokes at the same time after a night out.
Goodness me.
Since
this is a family show, you know.
Well, I know, it's disgusting.
He's talking about this kind of behaviour.
Disgraceful. Since then, this woman has sent me other messages which are completely unprintable.
Yeah.
I mean, what on earth's going on here? I don't know. He said...
But you see, if that was the case, I mean, if this guy is reasonably kind of sensible and also loves the woman that he's married to, he shouldn't worry about that, should he? I mean, if that all happened... Surely this all happened before he knew her.
I don't know.
Didn't he?
He goes on to say, I've deleted my Facebook account and don't know how much my wife read. I know she had a few relationships before I met her, as she was only 25 then, but this is a huge bombshell for me.
Some people do that, you know. What they do is when they meet up with someone and they have a new relationship, and as they get more and more sort of fond of each other, and they decide that they might want to kind of, move forward to the next level.
Yes.
Say, for example, maybe getting engaged, living together. They have this, I don't know if you've ever done this, you probably haven't.
Sort of change of life type thing.
Well, no, they have the conversation about the people that they've been with in the past.
Yeah.
Right? You've never had that, have you?
I've never had that conversation.
Because you've never been close enough to a woman to do that.
Well, I've never got that close to get married, I suppose. But he goes on just to finish by saying, he says, should I mention it or just ignore it and carry on as though nothing has happened? What do you think? And he's actually signed it, Ron. So there's a Ron walking around in the world. If you know a Ron,
his real name.
It says Ron here. If you know a Ron, have sympathy with the boy. And what I was going to say is, Mike, of course, one of the features we have in our show.
Well, at least he hasn't mentioned his wife's name.
No, he hasn't mentioned his wife's name.
No.
One of the features we have in the two Mike shows is Call Porky, don't we?
That's true. There's Ask Porky. Actually.
Ask Porky, and that is usually
Ask Porky. That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow. It's Ask Porky, and that's usually to try and help with problems like that. But I mean, my God, that must be a shock.
What would your advice be to this guy then?
Since
it's a sort of, it's a hypothetical problem as far as our listeners are concerned.
My advice would be, actually, to take comfort and succour that your wife found you so attractive when she met you that she gave up her previous life of being the village bike or the office bike or whatever sort of bike she was.
I don't think that's a very nice thing to say.
Allegedly.
I think that's a terrible thing to say.
But we don't know who these people are.
Well, it doesn't matter. Even if you didn't know who they were, you wouldn't want to call her that.
It's all anonymous. Well, if she was behaving like that, she would have been known as the local bike, wouldn't she?
No, not in my world.
Yeah, well,
not at all.
Oh, I see. Do you meet a lot of women who practice that sort of social?
I think the double standard that exists. I
friendships?
think the double standard that exists between men and women is wrong. I mean, a woman can have sex with as many people as she wants. As a man
at the same time?
Well, it's up to her. It's her life.
You know, taking back
What,
two
are you
men
going to give me some kind of Victorian view of the world?
Well, I do think that we have a moral code by which we should lie.
Well, and you think women should have a different moral code to men?
By which we should live.
Is that what you're saying? You think women should have a different moral code?
But you've got the morals of an alley cat.
That's not about
me.
me.
You have the morals of an alley cat.
This is not about me.
You have relationships.
This is not about me.
On a level, and I don't want to go into this too much because there's a family show, but you have relationships of a level which sometimes have quite appalled me, I have to say.
I've appalled you.
And I just have to ignore it.
I have to say, I haven't spent my life chasing other people's wives.
You
don't seem to have an answer for that.
You would if you had the opportunity, that's all I can say.
Now, listen, I've got something to tell you.
Married women are much more sophisticated than the sort of...
especially if they're married to somebody else.
Sort of people that you associate
Because
with.
you fear intimacy, that's the point. Now, have you seen this story in the papers this morning about a private firm which has been issuing 116 fines a day on behalf of local councils for all manner of offences, including feeding ducks?
No.
Now, I know that you still claim that you go and feed ducks every morning before you come in here.
Of course I do.
We've never seen a picture of you duck feeding.
I'm a patron of a duck conservancy.
Yeah, but we've never seen you feeding a duck.
Yes, you have.
I've never seen a picture of you feeding a duck.
Right. Not only are the pictures of me feeding ducks, I also have a little video somewhere of me feeding ducks.
Yeah, but when you go and feed them...
Which we can post.
All right, we can do that. But why don't we take... If you're going to go feeding some ducks tomorrow morning, why don't you take a picture of that?
It'll be too early and it'll be dark.
Well, you've got a flash, haven't you?
No, it's not good
to take your information device. Remember not to take your diary.
It frightens the ducks to...
So here's the thing, though.
Take pictures of them eating in the dark.
This is a security company, right, that has been hired to carry out environmental enforcement.
I think it's a damn disgrace.
Right? They've dished out 42,529 penalties for 16 different local authorities in last year.
I think it's a...
Do you know about this?
Well, I think it's a damn disgrace.
People have been given fines for dropping cigarettes on the road. They've been given fines for all sorts of offences, including, as I say, feeding the ducks.
The amount of regulation...
Did you even know this was going on?
No, I didn't know, and I think it's disgraceful. I'm glad you've raised it, because the amount of regulation we have in our life is killing off what I used to call society. Now, about 25 years ago, 30 years ago, this country changed from being an easygoing country to having a rule and a regulation for everything.
Yeah.
And mostly...
And a very intolerant country as well.
Yeah, very intolerant. But mostly, it was when Chancellors of the Exchequer found an easy way to raise money was to invent a lot of laws which people would obviously break.
Yes.
You know, like parking laws, council tax increases and all that kind of stuff, right, just to generate money. And we became a much less tolerant country.
Yeah.
I always used to have sympathy for parking, what are they called?
Traffic wardens.
Traffic wardens, that's right.
Why?
Well, I thought they've got a job, they're given a job to do, they do it, and they do it with a bit of goodwill and a bit of human feeling. But now, because it's a machine-done thing where people can take pictures of you parking your car and all that, and it's all robotic, I think it's one of the most disgraceful aspects of legislation in this country. Utterly disgraceful. You know what I like?
Why get so serious?
I like it when I see an episode of The Saint or something like that, right?
Well, the old Saint.
Yeah, the old Saint, you know, old Roger Moore.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, is a great guy, isn't he?
He is.
You know how old he is now?
He's about 80-something.
Yeah, he's about 80-something, and he's still working for UNICEF and all that kind of stuff. Great guy.
Yeah.
The best James Bond by a mile. But anyway, I like it when I see him, and all come the same, driving the old Volvo, you know, the two-door Volvo, which is a revolutionary car in those days, by the way, and he goes and he parks outside Selfridges in Oxford Street in London. I mean, you know, that is just amazing.
You can't do that now, can you?
Well, you can't even drive in Oxford Street, let alone park outside Selfridges, and there's no meters there. But, I mean, to all our lucky listeners who don't live in London, who live in great cities around the country...
So what, you're saying that the fact that he could drive his car and park outside Selfridges makes him a great guy?
No, it made us a freer country.
Oh, I see.
Now, for instance, I would say...
You have any time for this?
If you come from Liverpool and you could drive and park outside Lewis's in Lime Street, I think it was in Lime Street, probably wasn't, if you could park outside... What's that big shop in Newcastle called?
I don't know.
No, it's a really big shop.
I've only been in Newcastle once.
Have you? Okay, I was there with you at the time, wasn't I?
Have you seen the time?
And in Leeds,
if
you could park outside the town hall and go in and pay your rates, it was a great thing.
Yeah. Really?
It was.
That was it. That's all you've got to say.
Well, it is. It was a freer country then. We're all ruled and regulated now, and I don't like it.
Yeah, well, you don't like much.
I'd say get rid of the regulators.
That's why I haven't got any friends. This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Will be a podcast coming out a bit later on. Some people have said, will there be a podcast? Definitely, and we can say there will be. Not sure what time.
Excellent.
We'll find out later on, of course. Lots and lots of tweets coming in. Richard says this, a blue light that frightens bees. I think Porky's totally lost it. Those contraptions kill flies, you numpty.
Well, that's the same thing,
and there's certainly nothing to do with the cathode ray tube.
If bees got into the way.
Well, they might do, but bees are a little bit cleverer than that. Here's one from Simon who says, has Porky gone mad? Hashtag village bike, hashtag office bike.
Well, that's only an expression about an anonymous person. It's not like I'm being, personally offensive to anybody.
Absolutely
It was
horrendous.
the expression that has been used for many, many years.
Yeah, absolutely horrendous. And Martin says that TalkSport bigwigs have been a panic with talk of all this alley cat behaviour.
Yeah,
and also, how about this one from Alex? He says, Porky must have looked like a right weirdo standing outside the kebab shop looking inside. Why do you stand outside the kebab shop looking inside?
I didn't. I said
What's wrong with you?
I said to you, I've never been in a kebab shop.
Yeah, but I don't believe you.
And you said, oh no, only outside looking in.
Yeah, because you've confessed to that before.
I haven't
you've been
confessed
outside
to that.
looking in.
I haven't. If I walk past a kebab shop, I sometimes stare in and I look at that huge circular thing of meat that's going round, right?
Yeah.
And I think to myself...
The elephant's leg, as it's known.
Is it really? Yeah, I didn't even know that. And I think to myself...
Well, nobody can identify what it is.
Well, I'm just about to say...
reconstituted meat of some
that
description.
can't possibly be, the torso of a sheep, can it?
Well, of course it's not the torso of a sheep.
Well, that's what I always thought it was for years.
That'd be ridiculous.
Well, I did, because I thought kebabs are made up of lamb, aren't they?
Well, they are lamb-ish.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But you can also get chicken ones as well.
Well, you see...
But it's not made up of the torso of a chicken, is it?
Well, no, of course it's not, because
so why would it be
chickens
made
aren't
up
that
of
big.
the torso of a lamb,
Because
then?
lambs, haven't you
never
seen...
buy lamb's torso.
Have you never
you
seen...
get a leg of lamb.
Have you never seen that strange game they play in Afghanistan, where they all gallop around on horses, no, literally, and they pick up a dead sheep? and no, have you seen it?
Dead sheep polo, they call that,
In fact, wasn't that in one of the Rambo films?
I think it was.
And immediately...
I think that's where you saw it.
Immediately...
once again, you've seen that and decided this is obviously some kind of geographical anomaly that happens in Afghanistan.
Well, it does. That's why it happened. That's why it happened. And he
jumped Rambo 4, I think, wasn't it?
That's right. He jumped on a horse and immediately became an expert in dead sheep rallying. Dead sheep polo.
Sheep polo.
Now listen, we just played a bit of Abba there.
We
right?
did, yeah. Are they coming back or something?
Well, I'm not so sure that... No, they're not coming back.
Are they?
But what...
Because Agnetha has always said that she wants to remain a recluse, hasn't she?
On her island, her lonely island. A strange story, that. She eventually married a guy who was stalking for years, didn't she? What my entertainment journals are telling me over the Christmas period, applying myself as usual, is that...
I've got a tweet about that, actually. Jay says, that's Porky's code. Also, studied equals sought on the internet. The medical journal means pamphlet from doctors' waiting room.
No, that'd be ridiculous. That Benny and Bjorn... and by the way, I thought all four members of ABBA were incredibly talented because
well, that's very good of you.
They put it all together. And
do you know that when this the last time these pictures were circulating, Benny and Bjorn, is it Benny the one that looks like you? I mean, he looks uncannily like you now.
No, Benny. Oh yeah, Benny's the guy who plays the piano, and Bjorn is the guy who stands up with the sparkly
So
guitar.
Benny is the one who I think looks very like you.
Yeah, that's true.
He's got almost exactly the same shaped face, the same colour beard.
He's also incredibly creative.
Well, he's much more creative than you, clearly.
He's able to... Well, hang on. I've had a lot of very complimentary notes over Christmas about the Christmas Carol that I organised with old Padre Parry.
Padre Parry, yes.
So,
not so much the snowball fight, though.
Snowball fight's pretty good. No, what I was going to say about ABBA, because this is important, is that what I'm learning is that Bjorn and Benny apparently are going to get together in the new year and try and write a Mamma Mia 2.
Did they write Mamma Mia 1 then?
No, but
I thought Mamma Mia was just made up of all their songs.
Well,
somebody else wrote the story.
What I was going to say is, Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
Why
are you saying it slowly?
Was based on the great hit songs of ABBA. Yeah. Now, what they've said
but the story was concocted around the song.
I totally agree. But
they didn't write the story, did they?
No, they didn't write the story, but what I'm saying is that they are going to come up with a raft of maybe a dozen new songs, and then say to somebody, these are new songs, put it into a new Mamma Mia 2.
But who's going to sing them, though?
Well, I don't know, because in Mamma Mia, the film,
I suppose you don't need the other
show,
for that, do you?
No, on the stage show, the members of ABBA didn't sing the songs anyway.
Have you seen the stage show?
No, I saw the film with Pierce Brosnan, which I thought was great.
No, I don't fancy James Bond singing, to be honest.
Oh, I thought it was all right. I mean, people have got to change, haven't they?
Did you watch Downton Abbey, by the way, at the weekend?
Well, it's 2 hours long, and I didn't know it was 2 hours long. I tell you what I did see, though. I saw the other one.
The other one?
And then there were none.
And then there were none?
I've seen the first episode.
What is that?
It's the Agatha Christie thing, where they all go to this island and they're bumped off one by one.
Was it a new series?
It's a three-parter.
Is it?
And I saw last night when it was the second part. I saw the first part, and tonight I'll see the second part.
So you're watching it sort of one day behind.
Well, you know, I have responsibilities. Yes.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I saw the doubt, but see, the trouble with me, when Christmas Day, for the first time, my daughter made Christmas dinner, which was very good, I have to say. But she made the unfortunate error of keeping it sort of rather longer than normal in the kitchen. So normally you'd expect her to eat about 4 o'clock. We didn't get served up till about 7:30.
Why? Because you had too much drinking?
No, she was cooking it
all.
No, she was cooking it all, and she was doing a great job. And she was, you know, first time cooking Christmas dinner, so she hadn't put, you know, we got to about 5 o'clock, and I was starting to realise that I really need to eat soon.
Right.
And I said to her, you know, when do you think we'll be eating? And she's like, I haven't put the chicken in yet.
What?
And I went, well, it's 5 o'clock. And so by the time...
Well, why didn't she put it in?
Because she was waiting until everything else was done, and then she was putting the chicken in. It wasn't a very big chicken, so, I mean, it cooked in about an hour and a half.
I mean, she's a beautiful girl, but even I realise that it takes longer than half an hour to cook a chicken.
Well, of course it takes no more than an hour and a half. It takes more than half an hour. It took an hour and a half, so I mean, that's what I'm saying. By the time we ate, it was about 7:30.
Isn't the usual way to do these things that you put the chicken in, and when you smell the beautiful aroma of the chicken cooking, you are getting on with the vegetables?
Since you know absolutely nothing about cooking, I don't think you've got any business suggesting how it should be done.
You are getting on with the vegetables and things at the same time and all that kind of stuff?
What, boiling them? So within an inch of their lives.
Well, how did you cook your vegetables then?
We don't boil them.
Well, how did you cook them?
Well, we had sautéed Brussels sprouts
how
with
else can you cook them? If you don't boil sprouts, how else do you cook them?
You can sauté them with pancetta.
Utter rubbish and nonsense. You think people go around wasting their time on Christmas Day sautéing sprouts?
Yeah, they do.
You boil sprouts in a pan.
Yes, that's what they do in the House of Snobs.
And you boil carrots in a pan.
Is this what they do in the House of Snobs?
Well, what do they do in your house if they'll refute?
I can't tell you.
What do they do in your house if they'll refute?
I'll tell you in a minute.
No, you don't. You don't know. There's no answer. There's no other way of cooking sprouts except by boiling them, you oaf.
Look at the time.
Fat oaf.
This is Talk Sport.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
The Two Mics on Talk Sport.
Good morning, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry, you're listening to the Two Mics, a bank holiday, a special, massive day of football, of course, today. Adrian Durham's going to be joining us in this hour, looking ahead to all of it, not least, Manchester United against Chelsea. Could it be that Manchester United won't have a manager by the end of the day, because Louis van Gaal may decide to walk, whether he gets pushed or not. Coming up later on in the hour as well, we'll have another edition of Winners and Losers. We'll explain how it all works. You get to vote either for myself or for the Porkmeister. You're listening to Two Mics with me, Mike Graham, and Mike Parry on Talk Sport. Now, I've got a couple of more corrections for you. Here's one correction here.
Why are you so keen on reading out these so-called corrections?
Because, you know, what it's good to do is to make sure we don't give out any false information,
yeah,
right?
OK. And what about correcting the things that you say, which are,
well, by all means,
seriously
if I on occasion say anything incorrectly, obviously I will correct it. In fact, one of them does concern something I said. Firstly, though, here's Russ in Birkenhead. He says, unfortunately, Porky, Lewis's has now closed down.
Oh, is it? Right, OK.
Which follows on from this one from Lee, who says, Porky is well stuck in the 70s.
Yeah.
The Saint, old lamps and a frost-filled fridge.
Yeah.
Has he defrosted it yet?
No, I haven't. It's still a bit of a problem, that, actually. I knew that one more correction, down, right? But I was making the point. People used to be able to pull up outside Lewis's and go in and shop.
OK, here's one from Percival, who says, you know fine well it was Rambo 3. He says, how many correction texts are you expecting?
Well, you said Rambo 4.
He's seemingly accusing us. It's a very dangerous allegation, this from Percival.
Yeah.
He seems to be accusing me of deliberately saying it was Rambo 4.
Why?
So that loads of people like him will text in and correct it to Rambo 3.
Really?
I promise you, I thought it was Rambo 4. I'm terribly sorry if you think that I'm trying to make sure that you spend loads of money on text. That's not at all what I'm going to do. Here's one from Dave, who says, Porky, 1, my wife steams sprouts. You don't have to boil them. 2, a watch scientist is a chronologist.
Yeah, I knew that. And also I knew that if you steam sprouts, you can cook them like that. But steaming sprouts means you have to boil the water to get the steam. So I'm afraid that
you put them in a steamer.
No, it's exactly the same thing.
It doesn't remove all the flavour.
That guy's splitting hairs.
And it doesn't make them all horrible and mushy.
That guy's splitting hairs.
Porkster Parry is a dinosaur, says this texter. You can only cook sprouts and carrots by boiling them, eh? Yeah. Porky needs to get out more and needs to eat somewhere other than pre-war Britain. The man is a blithering fool.
There is no other way of cooking sprouts, and I'm telling you, for a guy to contact us and say you steam them. See, what you started here, Mike, is you started this sort of ridiculous sort of bandwagon of let's pick Porky up and everything he says
Not at all.
try and point out that
Not
he gets
at all.
nothing right. It's ludicrous and
No.
ridiculous, bores the audience to death.
Not true.
And of course, particularly when I turn you over and show you what righteousness is all about, i.e. the right facts.
We'll talk about being turned over.
That's when we get it right.
Because once again, we'll be looking at the predictor a little bit later on, the Selco predictor for what the scores are likely to be coming up later on today.
Of course.
Now, the one thing I did want to mention to you, we haven't mentioned it yet, front pages today full of these incredibly terrible
Dreadful.
pictures of York
Absolutely dreadful.
swamped. And
tell you.
it's incredible that and you know, if you're living up there and you're able to listen to the radio, that must be quite a luxury in itself. But what a terrible situation.
Honestly,
What I can't understand is why, and I know that there are reasons why they did it, and I know that they will say, well, you know, it was a better choice to do than not to do. But to have flood defences that you then basically open to allow the rivers to flood the whole city.
Did they say
surely that can't be the right thing to do?
Did they say we opened the flood defences so as not to damage them?
Well, yeah,
because there was a surge of water coming down.
Well, apparently the worry was that somehow the substation or the control area for this for these flood barriers would somehow get ruined, and then they'd never be able to defend against the floods again.
I can't.
But if that's the case, then surely they built that incorrectly in the first place.
Exactly. It wasn't a very efficient mechanism, was it, in the first place?
No.
I can't think of anything which would more, I don't know, disappoint me, destroy me, depress me or whatever, than having your home flooded.
Yeah.
Because most people, their home is their salvation. It's, you know, an Englishman's home is his castle.
Yeah.
You lock the door behind you when you've been to work at night, and you close the world out behind you. It's your haven. And to not be able to go home, and when you do go home to see 3 feet of water floating around, is heartbreaking.
But also we've
utterly
heard. I mean, I've
heartbreaking.
heard people talking on TalkSport and also on you know, on the TV and stuff, where they said, look, we thought that we might have a bit of a problem with some flooding in the kitchen, and it might come into the depth of a couple of inches, but actually it was waist high.
Yeah, it's terrible. And
it's getting worse.
Yeah, it's getting worse. And the other thing you'll think about, Mike, is how long will it take them to repair those houses?
Well,
I mean, we've seen one
some of them
aerial
won't be
picture
repairable
of
at all.
York, and there are literally a dozen streets flooded near the centre of York.
I think it's more than that, to be honest.
And York is
it seems like the whole city.
One of our most historical cities, and the idea that that is all, you know, being literally wasted is a disgrace.
I mean,
honestly.
many of these houses won't cover. There'll be a problem getting insurance for them.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I mean, Cameron's going up there today, which I suppose might be some small crumb of comfort to some people. I'm not quite sure why he's going to bother, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely horrendous situation. Don't know what you can do about it. Really.
I don't know what you can do about it, but honestly, our heart goes out. Now, we did a few weeks ago when this hit Cumbria, we did try to help in a small way. But you feel so helpless in trying to help these people whose homes have been devastated. And the other thing is to do it at this time of the year, Christmas. And the other thing which really concerns me greatly is that some of these properties which have been flooded are small businesses.
Yeah.
They're shops, they're offices, they're where people, like, for instance, there's one chap who's got a fashion store and he kept all his stock in the basement.
Yeah.
That's completely washed out.
What about that pub that was washed away?
The pub
been there for 200 years.
Literally washed away.
Yeah.
The River Derwent, I think, you know, sort of rose up and it took half the pub away. It was called the Pub on the River.
It was.
And it's not the Pub on the River anymore because it's been swept away.
Pub in the river.
Pub in the river, absolutely right. It is absolutely heartbreaking. So listen, if you're listening and you're suffering that situation, all we can say is our heart goes out to you. We wish we could do more to help. We really do.
Right.
We really do.
Now, here's one from Kitty who says, too much sending the watch back to Switzerland. Good idea, as the guy who sold it from the boot at the motorway service station is long gone.
Oh dear, that's very hard.
James says, if I was Porky, I'd stay away from men in white coats.
I will. You know, that's
now, how about this one? You can
obvious
answer this.
inference,
You can
isn't it?
answer this one because we will be able to probably do this towards the end of the week. When's Porky going to disclose his New Year's resolutions so we can see how many are still going on January the 2nd?
Yes, well, I mean, to be honest, I think people who come up with New Year's resolutions are losers because it's such a meaningless. If you have a New Year's resolution, then that means you need to do something to improve your life.
Yeah.
If you're not constantly on the alert to try and keep improving your life,
And what have you improved
You
about
are
your
a
life
loser.
since I last saw you?
well, I don't, you see, because I don't start resolutions and start short-term.
But what you're saying is that you should be improving your life constantly, right?
Yes, that's
so
what I mean.
presumably on a regular basis.
Yes, that's
so,
right.
for example, last time I saw you, which was the morning of Christmas Day, Friday, you must have improved something about your life between now and then.
No, you completely lose my point. My point is that by leading a certain lifestyle...
Are you saying your life couldn't be any better?
No, what I'm saying is that I couldn't be trying hard enough to make sure my life is a regulatory process that makes me happy, both in in mind and body.
What do you think Louis van Gaal has been doing over the weekend to try and improve his life?
I should think the poor boy's getting very depressed, and I mean that. I mean, you see the misery on that man's face. You saw the look of bewilderment.
Yeah.
He walks out of Stokes ground and can't find the coach, or takes a wrong turn to the team coach.
Yeah.
He does. I know this sounds very unfortunate. It's a bit unkind, but he has, for some unknown reason, got a flat nose, which one suspects might be a football
injury. He may have
injury.
acquired that from playing football.
He wasn't a great footballer, by the way.
He wasn't, no.
Neither
was Gus Hiddink.
No, they were very average footballers.
Do you think it'd be interesting to see if they shake hands, by the way?
As opposed to Coman at Southampton, who was a very good footballer.
He was
a very good footballer. But no, the point I'm making is, I know this sounds a bit unkind, but it honestly looks like somebody has picked up the biggest frying pan in the world and gone whack and smacked old Louis van Gaal in the face with a frying pan, which has busted his nose or something.
Now, you know,
and he's staggering around ever since.
Well, it's not his fault. I mean, you're not exactly the world's greatest looking bloke.
No, I'm not claiming to be. I said I'm not trying to be unkind. I'm just giving you the mental analogy.
We were talking before about Sir Perry Groves about, whether he'd ever been in this situation before, and Perry said, he has left places before, but almost every other place he's left to go somewhere else. He hasn't actually left.
He has left after failure a couple of times.
Well, he has, but he's always gone. He's always gone somewhere else. I mean, he was fired by Barcelona.
That's what I mean.
Right, but that means that's not him leaving of his own volition.
No. What I'm saying is he has had sackings in the past. He left the Dutch team the first time after failing to get him into a World Cup.
Yeah, but he resigned though. That's my point.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to when you can't get your national team into a World Cup and they've got the quality of the Dutch players around you. You have to go. It is amazing,
There's no time left,
Amazing these
days.
days.
Nearly over. You have to stop rabbiting on.
No. Amazing these days that even failure doesn't have the ultimate price these days, and that's because of the lack of quality of great managers.
Well, that may well be.
And we've adopted the continental system now. If you failed once, it doesn't mean you're necessarily no good forever.
No, it doesn't. Well, you wouldn't not hire Jose Mourinho because of what happened to Chelsea, would you?
I totally agree.
Well, exactly. So you've just kiboshed your own argument.
No, I totally agree.
This
but
is
that's a one-off.
Be quiet. This is TalkSport. We are the two mics. Winners and losers coming up very shortly, Mr. Parry. So I hope you've got some decent ones to give us. We've got loads and loads of Premier League action.
Well, I hope you've got
up.
some decent ones as
I
well.
Do have.
As I won the last three.
Yeah, well, just tell me what the score is.
Completed
overall.
the hat trick.
What's the score overall?
I have no idea because it's irrelevant.
It's 13-6 to me.
Let's talk about recent form.
If you were in the Championship, I'd say you'd be somewhere down near where Bolton are, which is anchored to the bottom of the table, I have to say.
Just get on with it.
Let's talk to Simon Humphreys, who's at Bolton Blackburn for us. It's the early kick-off at 12:45. Simon, what do you got for us?
Yeah, thanks, guys. The only way really is up for beleaguered Bolton, bottom of the Championship table and 7 points adrift of safety following a 4-0 Boxing Day defeat at relegation rivals Rotherham. Not the ideal start to the festive programme for boss Neil Lennon, who's won just one of his last 29 games in charge. They were also hit with a transfer embargo last week. The club is up for sale and a number of players are likely to move on once the transfer window opens later this week. Today's opponents, Blackburn, are 14th, 9 points off the top six, but fresh hope for them under Paul Lambert, who'll be looking to strengthen in the new year. He suffered his first defeat last weekend, a 1-0 loss at Reading since taking over 6 games ago. Headline T News: Bolton make 4 changes after the 4-0 defeat at Rotherham. Medine, Davis, Vella and Prince come in for Heskey, Dan, Spearing and defeat. As for Blackburn, their Boxing Day game against Middlesbrough was a victim of the bad weather, but they're unchanged for a 3rd successive game. At the Macron Stadium, it's a 12:45 kick-off for Bolton against Blackburn.
And you'll hear all about that, of course, throughout Match Day Live with Adrian Durham. We'll talk to Adrian in a little while as well. I've got an explanation here for Louis van Gaal's nose problem. Apparently, it was broken by a goalkeeper in a game in the 1970s.
Really?
His name is Frank Boyschert, it would look like. I'm not sure if I've got it's spelled Buyschachert. He would say that.
Fairly typical Dutch name.
He was playing for Antwerp against a team called Kortrijk. And apparently there was a bit of contact between the two of them. What's wrong with that?
Well, old Louis van Gaal is a bit of a twerp at the moment, isn't he?
Well, I suppose he is.
It was a bit of a
playing for Antwerp. It's a bit of a coincidence.
Exactly,
yes, indeed. Now, of course, we've got lots of other pieces of advice on sprouts. Peter in Plymouth says, Mike, you could do sprouts wrapped in foil in the oven for 15 minutes.
Why would you want to do that?
Well, because
why would anybody want to do that?
Because if you boil everything that you eat, you will take all the nutrients out of it. You won't enjoy it. It will taste horrible.
Rubbish.
Soggy, watery.
No.
I mean, did you have everything boiled on the weekend? Christmas Day?
Have you never heard about straining? What you do is, by the way, you don't boil them to soft. You can't
cook, can you?
You don't boil them to soft mush. You boil them until they are what I consider to be crunchy.
Al dente.
What's al dente?
Well, that's what they call pasta, which is not quite soft. But
Right, so you boil them until they're crunchy, right?
Yeah.
I then get them out of the pan, and I put them into my plastic colander, and I shake them around a lot, okay?
What do you cover the colander with?
With a cloth.
With a cloth?
Cloth, yeah,
All right,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Now shake
That
them
sounds a
around.
bit unhygienic.
No, it's not. It's a very, very clean cloth, and you shake them around over the sink,
Right.
so all the water comes out, right?
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah.
you know, my piece de resistance.
Oh, yeah.
I then
I'm never coming to your house for a meal.
I then put them back in the pan, but also with a knob of butter. And then I hold the pan, I hold the lid on the pan, and I shake them like they were maracas.
Okay.
Until all the what are we talking about here? All the sprouts, sorry, are covered in butter, and then they taste gorgeous.
Really?
And sometimes put a bit of pepper in, so that the pepper sticks to the butter on the sprouts.
And so you can do all that while you're cooking a Christmas dinner
Yes,
with all
I
the
can.
other stuff
Yeah,
going
I could.
on.
Yeah, if I wanted to.
With
Yeah.
the boiled carrots, the boiled parsnips, the boiled potatoes.
Yes, I totally.
Dear me.
I
I
go
thought of
for
you
all
at the
that.
weekend, by the way. Have you seen that story
No,
about
I
drones?
don't. Parsnips go into the pan with the chicken or the turkey.
Yeah, they certainly should.
Yes.
Did you see a story at the weekend about how sophisticated drone jamming technology is now going to be
Absolutely.
employed by
How
Scotland
long
Yard?
have- how long have I been
have to
warning?
say, you have been warning about this for a long time. You have been saying that, in fact, there's a wicket in the cricket. Let's go to John Norman, and we'll talk about drones in a moment. John.
Yes, England lost their second, 48 for 2, and Alex Houser's gone. Going for the big shot off Dane Pete and just not getting enough on it and picking out mid-on. So a blow for England and a blow for Hales on debut. He'd looked actually pretty comfortable up until that moment. Not sure he really needed that shot, but he's taken it and it didn't pay off this time. So England lose their second, still in a healthy position though. They lead by 137, they're 48 for 2.
I look forward to some of your analysis on this a little bit later. I don't know if you're going
On
to
what?
feature any of this cricket's going to feature in the winners and losers, is it?
No, I think we should leave that to John Norman, who's doing an excellent job there.
So you're going to ignore the cricket altogether in winners and losers?
No, I'm not ignoring the cricket. Well, I'm not going to tell you what's in my winners
Well,
and
I'm
losers.
just saying, I'd be surprised if you don't
you're-
mention the cricket.
No, you're trying to wheedle some winners and losers out of me
Not
because
at
you haven't
all.
got any ideas in your own head.
I have got plenty.
What I was going to say was...
We were talking about drones because
Drones,
I have
that's
to say, I mean, despite much of the nonsense that does emanate from your face, you have been saying...
Face? Sure, it's not my mouth.
Well, it is your mouth, yeah. But you've been saying for a very long time we're going to have to get on top of this drone situation.
Indeed.
Because I'll tell you what I saw actually over the course of the weekend is a lot more people flying drones because they get them as Christmas presents, and a lot of these kids on these hoverboard things, which are supposed to explode into flames.
And they're supposed to have been banned as well.
Well, they obviously haven't been because these
No,
kids
it's
are
now
riding up and down the pavement on
No,
it.
it's illegal to use them on pavements.
Yeah, no,
now.
I know,
The
but-
police
but-
car was passing. They should have stopped those kids. I don't like.
Well, yeah, but
policemen.
there's never a police car
No,
passing.
there isn't. No. And by the way, I saw a police car yesterday in a filthy condition.
Filthy.
Oh,
well, they can't afford to wash them, can they?
Do you know what? You may be right, but I've noticed more and more police cars are filthy and need washing. Now, there used to be a rule in this country where a police car could not go out on the road unless it was spotlessly clean.
Yeah, right.
Every chief constable
Why
had
don't they
that
just
rule.
take them to one of these, outdoor, hand car wash places?
I totally agree.
And just get a free
Get the
car
guys
wash.
in. I got mine done, by the way, on Christmas Eve. Did I tell you?
Well, of course you did, because you were going down to your sister's house. And
Yes,
you have
that's
to have
right.
a clean car.
No, that's
Otherwise,
right.
you're not allowed to park there.
That's
are you?
right. And
Unbelievable.
Oh, I told you, didn't I? I gave the guy 20 quid for
You
washing
did.
my car,
You did
even
tell
though
me
it was
that.
only £8.
Yeah, because you were here on Christmas Eve.
I felt
forgotten that already, haven't you?
I felt the spirit of generosity.
But here's the thing, right? They're going to get these jamming devices, jamming technology, so that if there are major events where they don't want these things to fly, they'll actually be able to stop them flying.
Yes,
This is the only way to do it.
They've already got them because what they decided was...
Because, I mean, football matches, you've got to think, have been, so far not really targeted by... I'm not just saying terror droids,
you're
but sort
right.
of nuisance droids.
Well,
drones.
Didn't we see a drone collapse
Droids?
on... No, you're
Drones?
right. We saw a drone nearly collapse on top of a skier over
We
Christmas.
did, yeah,
right?
that's right, yeah.
So that's the sort of problem
And
you're
there,
going to
was,
have.
and there was that terrible incident, was there not, between Montenegro and Albania?
There was, yeah.
Remember that?
That's right, when he was flying a banner around.
Yeah.
But look, without getting deeply maudlin here...
I don't want to get deeply bored.
If you don't put these jamming devices up around airports, what is to stop somebody of malcontent flying a drone...
Who's that?
Somebody wants to damage somebody else,
Oh,
or
I
hurt
see.
somebody else, or kill somebody else, right?
I thought it was a name.
Of flying that drone into the flight path of an aeroplane coming in or going out.
Well, that's one of the reasons they want this jamming technology.
Exactly, so it gets sucked into the engine. So I'm glad we've got the jamming technology to stop it. But secondly, I tell you what also I
Do you know where they trialled this, by the way?
Go on.
Remembrance Sunday.
Oh, yes, of course they did.
And they were able to jam drones for an area of 5 miles across.
That's right. I remember.
That's quite impressive, isn't it?
It's very impressive indeed. But the second thing that's stopping the drones from being... Because you're quite right. Anybody of malcontent who wanted to fly a drone over a packed football stadium and drop a device inside the stadium, presumably...
Or even just cause a bit of havoc.
But, I mean, imagine if you did it in Oxford Street on a busy shopping day.
I know.
It would be an absolute nightmare.
By the way, have you seen the numbers of people who are out shopping? I mean, we just had Christmas, right?
Yes.
Buying, all sorts of... We've had Black Friday, where all these people have bought loads and loads of stuff. What are they doing? Queuing outside shops on Boxing Day.
Dunno.
And I'm talking about Saturday, not today.
Yeah.
But there seems to be people queuing for absolutely everything.
Are they looking for bargains?
Yeah, but why, though? They've already spent loads of money at Christmas.
I don't know. Listen, just finally on the drones.
What is wrong with people?
The other thing that's happened is that I am told by a friend of mine who is huge in the insurance world that they have now cancelled.
Huge in the insurance world?
Huge in the insurance world.
Why can't he just be in the insurance world?
No, he's huge.
Everybody that you know has to have some kind of exemplary title.
This guy is...
he's a giant of the insurance world.
Yeah, he is, yeah. He's invented new methods of insurance which have now been taken on by the whole industry and made him a considerable fortune.
Well, maybe...
I'm delighted
Well, I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, I'm happy.
What about the poor people that have had to pay the premiums?
Well, there's winners and losers in life. Now, as we're going to find out in a minute.
See the time.
No. What I was going to say is, they have now cancelled all policies relating to drones. You can't insure a drone anymore in this country.
Really?
You can't. Well, that's what I'm told. I mean...
Well, why doesn't your giant of the insurance business come up with a way of doing it?
Because it is no longer acceptable to insure things which can be used in a provocative and malcontent manner.
They should be able to insure your car, then. But that's another story.
Malcontents have to be watched very carefully.
Yeah, never mind that. Winners and losers coming up next.
Yeah.
Don't phone your mother. Phone Talk Sport.
Football on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Athletico Radio.
Talk Sport.
Now it's time for the winners and losers. For those people who haven't listened to our show before in the evenings on Top Sport, I should just explain that basically the rules are as follows. You get to vote as the listeners out there. We'll put a Twitter poll out on the Two Mikes Twitter account, so just follow us there. And once we've finished doing the 3 winners and the 3 losers, you decide to vote with your conscience. And the vote's going to run for, around about 24 hours? Just a bit more than 24 hours, I suppose.
Yes, there's a bit more than 24 hours.
We're back on the Hawksby and Jacobs slot tomorrow afternoon.
And remember, folks, vote Porky, vote often.
Oh, okay. Well, try not to gerrymander it. Now, normally you request that you go first with the losers.
No, I don't always, no.
Would you like to go first with the losers?
Okay, you want me to go first with the losers?
Why don't you go first with your 3 losers?
I'll go first with the losers, okay?
Yep.
And these are great. Right, first of all, the first loser is the guy who designed the shorts in which Manchester United played in yesterday.
Right.
They were ridiculous,
and who is that?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know who it is?
Of course I don't know.
You can't have some anonymous figure.
Of course you can.
No, you can't.
Of course
you have to know who the guy is. You should have done a bit of research.
It was done by a company. It wasn't done by an individual. I did do the research, okay? Now, the thing is, they were dark shirts and then dark shorts halfway down the shorts, and then they morphed into white shorts. And it looked like somebody had,
it did remind me a little bit of that terrible grey kit that they had, and they couldn't win a game in.
It was worse because it went from black to white, so it looked like they didn't have any shorts on.
Well,
they
this
were
coming
ridiculous.
from the man who's just acquired a blue and white striped dressing gown.
There's nothing wrong with that. Millions of people have got one of those.
Really?
Although mine is a better quality. So what I'm going to say is the guy who designed those shorts, on a day when Manchester United were fighting for their reputation on the pitch, also roundly looked ridiculous in their strip. That's loser number 1.
Okay.
Loser number 2, Michael Gove.
Michael Gove?
Michael Gove is the Justice Minister.
Yes.
And we're seeing headlines in all the newspapers this morning about people being let out of jail who should be in jail, but due to mistakes by the Ministry of Justice, these people...
this has been over the last 10 years.
Jail bosses free 500 prisoners by accident. It's still going on. And the current Minister of Justice is Michael Gove.
Yeah, but he's not responsible for all of them, is he?
I'm saying he's got to do something about it to give us confidence back in the justice system.
All right.
And the third loser, of course, and I'm sorry if this is a bit obvious, but it has to be said, Delia Smith, who owns and, partly owns and partly runs Norwich City Football Club, has taken on Ed Balls as the chairman.
Yes.
Ed Balls is the man who was Chief Secretary of the Treasury during a period when the finances of this country were blown to hell and we nearly went bankrupt.
Are you suggesting it's not a great move?
I'm suggesting that, I don't know why, but politicians, whether they win or fail in office... always seem to get a job afterwards because people think because they've been a politician...
Well, you'd have to say politics and football don't mix very well, does it?
Politicians and football don't mix very well, and most politicians, in my view, are pretty damned hopeless.
Yeah, OK. All right. Well, another sort of...
Three losers.
Another clasp at the sort of populist vote there.
Three losers.
All right, those are your three
quality losers.
All right, well, my first loser of the weekend is LVG's grandchildren, right? Louis van Gaal spent a great deal of time last week complaining that all these terrible things being written... terrible things being written in the papers about him because of the fact that, you know, he was supposedly getting sacked. He demanded that the press apologise to him. He said, what's he supposed to say to his grandchildren? Well, what's he going to say to his grandchildren now? You know, he's already said that he doesn't have a clue how to make the team work. He doesn't think that he stands a chance against Chelsea. Imagine his poor grandchildren. Imagine his wife, his children, his poor grandchildren. So that, for me, is precisely one loser that... my second loser of the week, and I'm surprised you haven't spotted this one, is the FA. You used to be employed by the FA, did you not?
I was Director of Communications.
Now, for a moment I thought you'd been back there. I wondered if you'd been back there, because you've seen this great blunder that they've made.
No.
You haven't seen this?
No.
Well, Roy Hodgson was hoping to play the Czech Republic and Portugal in warm-up games before the Euros, right, in 2016.
Yes.
Turns out that they forgot that there is a rule which basically is Article 21.05 of the regulations of the UEFA Football Championship. Do you know what it is?
You can't play two teams who already qualified for the competition alongside you.
Within a month of the championship starting.
Yeah.
So they're now going to have to completely rip up all their plans. They're going to have to find new teams to play. And Roy Hodgson has admitted that it's a massive blunder.
I think you'll find that those fixtures have not been set in concrete.
No, they hadn't. But the point is they now have to find teams that they can play who will not be in any way proper preparation
not a huge,
for the Euros.
Not a huge situation.
And my final...
a weak loser.
My final loser is Oscar. Because, you know, Gus Hiddink had his first game for Chelsea at the weekend. He had an opportunity to get 3 points. And instead, Gus Hiddink still has yet to win a game. And he took one of the worst penalties you've ever seen. And not only did he slip, and of course you can do that, but as he was on the run-up, he did one of those stop-start things.
Of course.
You know, when you try and fool the goalkeeper. And made himself look a complete idiot.
Pretty damn
so
hopeless.
Oscar is my third loser. So those are my three losers. We'll be doing the winners now.
Everyone's a winner, baby. That's no lie. That's no lie. You never fail to satisfy.
Now, would you like me to go first with the winners?
Yes, you go first with the winners.
That now, of course, you have gone first with the losers. Well, my first winner
are very superior.
Well, I wouldn't say that. My first winner of the weekend has got to be England goal scorers, right? Because you've got Harry Kane, who's broken another record, scored more goals, another couple of great goals at the weekend, and Raheem Sterling, of course, who you said would not score 5 goals in the entire season, who's already now scored 5 goals.
I said he wouldn't score more than 5.
And we haven't even got to... No, you said he would not score 5. We've been through this. We have been through it.
And I suppose you'd include Wayne Rooney in that, would you, as a winner?
England goal scorers? No.
You know, he is the record England goal scorer, Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, but he didn't score any goals at the weekend.
But your category is England goal scorers.
England goal scorers, Harry Kane and Raheem Sterling.
But Wayne Rooney is an England goal scorer.
Why are you arguing about Wayne Rooney?
Because...
These are England goal scorers who scored at the weekend.
Oh, no, you didn't say that.
Well,
you
I
said
did
England
say
goal
that.
scorers. No,
I made it very clear. Mr. Martino is my second winner because, of course, that fantastic goal he scored for Southampton, which you talked about, where he hit it with the outside of his right foot.
Brilliant goal.
Absolutely extraordinary.
Can't argue with that one.
And my final winner, because I know we haven't got an awful lot of time here, is John Beeden. Do you know who John Beeden is?
I know who John Biden was.
Who's John Biden?
He was the guy who was the crook who got off the court case when he's supposed to have stabbed a man to death and promptly went into a press conference and took the actress model Vicky Song on Marisha.
Beeden has become the first man to row from the Pacific in America to Australia.
Yeah, what a waste of time, eh?
6,100 nautical miles, right? In 209 days it took him. And also, what I like about this guy is when he got to the other end, he said, that was 100 times harder than I thought it was going to be.
That's right, yeah.
How hard did he think it was going to be?
Yeah, complete waste of time.
Well, anyway, he's British, right?
Yeah.
And he's the first man to have actually rowed solo from the Pacific Ocean of North America.
Wow.
Oh, you don't think anything of it?
Well, hasn't he got anything better to do?
It's a fantastic achievement.
If I sat in a boat for the next 6 months and rowed, I'd get from...
you wouldn't get from here to the other
Pacific.
side of Blackfriars Bridge in 209 days.
Of course I would.
Because 1/3 of your heart worked. Right. Now, those are my three. I think he's the one that's going to win it for me.
I've got 3 great winners, right? You nominated a goal scorer. I'm going to nominate a great goal scorer, Tom Cleverley of Everton, for the brilliant headed goal in the 93rd minute.
It was an open goal.
No, it wasn't anything like an open goal.
Yeah,
That's the ultimate winner. The second one, right, is York City Football Club.
York City. Oh, don't tell me you're going to go for the old tugging of the heartstrings.
Their Boxing Day game was postponed due to the weather.
This is disgraceful.
Do you know what he then did? Do you know what they then did?
Disgraceful.
Do you know what they then did? They then took all the food in all their bars and canteens to homeless charities because, of course, it was Boxing Day and they wanted to take some Christmas spirit.
What, you mean Boxing Day on Saturday?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, I thought it was today.
No, it's 2 Boxing Days this year.
There's 2 Boxing Days.
And that was a fantastic gesture to help the homeless, because that's the sort of thing I like to do.
You're shocking.
I help those... Well,
these are the people you describe as filthy...
No, I don't.
Horrible,
rubbish,
nasty, downtrodden people.
How dare you?
Yes, you do.
I gave all my out-of-date beer to the homeless, and they're giving the food to the homeless.
You don't like the homeless. It's shocking what you say.
And the third winner, and this is the best one I think a lot. This will make everybody feel good to be English and British. Barbara Windsor is going to be made a Dame of the British Empire.
There's another story from the 70s.
Well, hang on. She's getting a damehood in the New Year's Honours list, so that's just about as up-to-date as you can be.
A damehood?
Because that hasn't even happened yet,
That's what you call it.
She is going to be made a Dame of the British Empire because she's one of the favourite
That doesn't mean
actresses.
she can sit in the House of Lords, does it?
Well, who knows the answer to that one? But I mean, the point is, no, of course she can't, because she's not going to be a baroness.
Yeah.
She's going to be getting the equivalent of a knighthood for a lady, which I think is wonderful. Everybody loves Babs Windsor. She was the greatest carry-on actress of all time. She deserves that honour so much. So I commend my winners: York City for charity, Barbara Windsor, the great actress, Tom Cleverley scored a brilliant goal. I commend my winners to our millions and millions of listeners.
Absolutely hopeless. That is the winners and losers for this week. Go to the 2 Mikes Twitter account, and there you will find, pinned to the top of it, the voting process. And you can either vote for me or Porky Parry.
Yes.
And we will give you until 1 o'clock, basically, tomorrow, when we're going to be here for Hawksby and Jacobs' slot.
We will.
And at the moment, I'm afraid it's 63 to me, percentage-wise, 37% to you.
What?
63% to me, 37% to you.
There is no voting so far. There can't be.
83 votes cast.
No, rubbish. I hadn't even given you my winners before those votes started coming in.
All right, well.
People will now reassess.
No.
Hey, by the way,
you haven't got time.
The FA Cup third round has come up very quickly.
All right, we'll
one of
talk
my
about that.
favourite days in the season.
Great.
Favourite day in the season.
Hang on.
If you love the 2 Mikes podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.